Hey, PHS. Welcome back to Go Knuckle Talk with Flo. I am Flo. And of course, my terrific co host, Lisa Nolan Hafner. Hey, Lisa.
Hi, Michael.
So, who are these cool cats?
Oh, these are some fun people that we looked up to when we were in high school. So, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And so, please welcome to our program Kim Tuttle, Laura Miller, Scotty Hill, Walt Taylor, Harold King, and Shonnie Trimble. Thank y'all so much for being here. This is so exciting, and for you taking time out of your evening to just come and hang out with us and share a little bit of your time in Plainview and high school and all that jazz.
And this is the class of 82.
Class of 82.
Right?
And so before we get started, question number one, I always like to ask everyone, where are you living now these days? So I'll start with Kim.
I am living right now in St. Louis, Missouri. And then in the winter, we have a place in Naples, Florida. So I'm in Naples too.
Okay.
State from Scotty.
I don't blame you. Laura.
I'm in Mansfield, Texas.
Okay. Suburb of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Walt.
I'm also in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Okay. Very cool. Shonnie.
I am in Georgetown, which is a little bit north of Austin.
I love Georgetown. Harold, where are you living now?
We are still living in Plainview, Texas, and I'm going to add this note to it. Y'all remember Richard and Linda Watson that owned the Fieldhouse restaurant?
Yes.
We live in the house that they built in 1996, south of Plainview on 10 acres. But yeah, we're still in Plainview because been a Hill County commissioner for nearly 14 years.
They hosted us at the
Reunion
for a pre-party, and it was a very, very lovely evening and great place to see a Texas sunset.
Nice.
Yes.
Thank you, Scotty.
Scotty, where are you living?
Jacksonville, Florida. I've been here since 1999.
Cool.
Okay, that's northern Florida, right?
Right. We're on the Atlantic coast, and we're often called Southern Georgia because we're so close to the Georgia state line.
Okay. Awesome.
Well, Lisa, where are you from?
I'm from Plainview, but
where do you live? Asshole.
I live in Dallas proper. I live close to the Arboretum and White Rock Lake, and I moved here I lived in 9 states. I had a long career at Southwest Airlines, and when I moved back to Dallas or to Texas, after living in some really gorgeous places, I had to live near a green belt. So living by the lake and the Arboretum was a must for me, and I'll never move from this area except for when I leave the country, which is in a few years.
Cool. Well, I'm from Hempstead, which is 50 miles northwest of Houston, and been living here since '97, I believe. So love it here. I even love the humidity. Anyway, class of 82. Hello. So how does it feel being the second best class behind the class of 83? How does that feel?
83? Who was that?
Yeah.
I'm all in with Shonnie. We were the best that ever came out of there.
I agree. And my mother will confirm that.
So when's the last? I was gonna say, when's the last time you guys seen each other? Like some of you guys. I mean, I know Laura, you see Shonnie a lot, but
I saw her Thursday.
I
saw Scotty. When did I see you last? You were here.
For my birthday.
Was it your birthday?
In April, yeah.
In April.
Birthday, yes.
Most of us saw each other for our reunion, but Scotty, you came by my house since the reunion. I've seen you here, haven't I? Wasn't that after the reunion?
I did. Yeah, it was actually 2 years ago, March.
Yeah.
And I still owe you a thank you note. My life changed quite dramatically shortly after being at your house, so I'm a little behind on my notes.
I'm not sure what that means, but okay.
We had a lovely visit, and my favorite cousin and Laura. Wait, Laura, you weren't there, were you?
Nope.
What? You're always there in my mind. But
I know.
anyway, yeah, Shonnie and my favorite cousin and I, we had a great lunch and got to see where she lives and everything. It was a great time. And what I've always loved so much about this whole group is space, time, distance means nothing. The moment we see each other, it's like
Yeah.
we just pick right up where we left off. And
I feel like
you
we
know,
had the
that's a
best
very
reunion. Yeah.
yeah, that's a really special gift and trait that we all have. And I've always greatly appreciated this group of people.
Nice.
Hmm.
Okay.
That's
Oh, for
wonderful.
real.
That really, what I was going to say earlier is, yeah, I do think we have a great class, but I really loved your class. I had more friends, and I think in your class, I was really close to my brother who graduated in your class, and Laura Adams said to tell you hi.
Oh,
Uh,
tell him I said hello.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, y'all had a lot of really cool people in your class. A lot of people I looked up to and admired. So
We were like all friends though. It was like, it wasn't real clicky.
Yeah.
Like everybody was friends with everybody. So it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
I don't know. And everybody was really real with every, you know, it wasn't like anybody was, you know, ever mean to anybody. It was just really a lot of fun. We all got along really, really well.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, for sure. I mean, in my first year of varsity, of course, being with all your classmates,
Mhm.
I just always felt like I was part of your class, and I wanted to go to your reunion with my brother, and he couldn't make it. So
I know you can.
I wanted to crash the party.
You always can.
I know.
Well,
Well,
I think
go ahead.
Plainview, the school district system that was in place, you know, when we were younger, having all the fifth graders go to one school, all the sixth graders go to one school, the seventh graders and the eighth graders, you know, I came in the middle of that, so I didn't get the fifth and sixth grade experience. I started at Coronado in the seventh grade, but by the time we got to high school, you know, we all knew each other. And,
Well,
Right.
we only started doing that in sixth grade. Yeah, sixth grade. We
yeah.
missed fifth. So you
Yes.
only missed it by 1 year.
Oh, was it
So,
sixth? It wasn't fifth?
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
That's when it went
Right.
in. Yeah.
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd all been together for so long. I
Yeah.
mean, we all
We knew everybody in town that was our age.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you
And
know,
so I don't know what the educational statistics on that are. You know, I'm not really qualified to say if that's really a good system from a teaching standpoint, but it sure helped me, you know, as the new kid in town, you know, to
It's-
only have to learn the names of only the people my age.
Yeah. So where did you move from, Walt?
From Austin.
Okay. Was that culture shock moving to this little West Texas town?
A little bit, but you know what was even more culture shock was when I moved back. When I moved back to Austin to go to UT, it was, yeah, I didn't realize how much of Plainview I'd picked up. It was a lot. So,
Well, I'm going to chime in here. A couple of nights ago, we had the Jimmy Dean Music Festival here, and Mark
Whoa.
Edwin was here, Jimmy Berry, Mark Lamb, I don't know, a bunch of us that all grew up together. And I told them, you know, because one of them popped off about me playing sports, but I also told them, I said, we all had little groups that we did run around in certain times, but we all meshed together. You know what?
Absolutely.
Everybody hung out when we were all together. It wasn't
Mhm.
like this clique and this clique or this clique.
I agree.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's start with some of the questions, you know, and I guess the first one is if there's anything you could change, if whatever you did back in 82 or any time in high school or middle school, is there anything, if you can go back in time, you would change? I'll start with you, Harold.
God.
You should have read these questions.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Flo. If I could reach you right now, I would choke you or punch you. No, not really. You know, there's really not anything I would change. I mean, overall, I had a really good high school experience with my class, the classes that were older than me, and the ones that were younger than me. Like I said about our class, there's a bunch of them that I'm still really good friends with. Like your class, Lisa, I crashed y'all's 40th party. I sat down with Mo Evans, B. Terrell, Not Michael Weeks, Randy Roberts, Russ Macbeth, Peter Vera, Myron Weidenbach, because we all grew up together.
Mhm.
What's really funny, we're sitting there and I'm sitting between Randy Roberts and Myron Weidenbach, and B. Terrell and Mo Evans are sitting on the other side of the table. And you know how those two were. Whatever went into their head came out of their mouth. And I'm sitting there going, both of them punched me in the leg, and I'm like, Randy goes, "Did you hear that?" Myron's like, "Did you hear that?" Like, yeah. I said, they said, nothing has changed. Whatever goes in Mo and B's head comes out their mouth. And that we were sitting at the country club and we all just died laughing. You know?
That is
Yeah.
so true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
it
two have
is.
not
You
changed.
know that. You grew up with them. They have not changed.
Hey,
And
Harold, so
so-
did I. So did I. I'm from that class.
I know.
Hello.
I think I saw you there. But yeah, and Robert Braddock and all them and Bondo Burnett and yeah, there wasn't really, there's nothing I would change from my high school
Oh, that's cool.
days.
What about
It's
you,
all-
Laura?
We had a good time from the whole get-go.
Nice.
Ran around with
Okay.
a bunch of
I
good
know your wife is there, so I know you got to keep it clean. So it's
No. She's been married to me long enough to know I will say what I think most of the time.
Right.
But no,
What about you, Laura?
No, I don't think so. I think I just think back on the things that we did, and with Kim sitting here and Shonnie sitting here and Scotty sitting here. And of course, Harold lived behind us, and, and Walt and I had classes together, all the time. I really can't think of anything that I would do differently. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun growing up in Plainview.
yep.
Really was.
Scotty, you got to have something, brother. Come on.
Well, I was trying to think. There's a pair of shoes that my father and I wore, and everybody made fun of us. And I can't even remember the name of them, but they had these rubber wavy soles, and the top of them were leather, and they were Italian, and they were really expensive. And you could buy them at Gabriel's, I think. And anyway, I jokingly was going to say I would reconsider wearing those, but
Were they the
No.
SAS?
what's that?
The SASs with the wavy soles?
No, these weren't SAS.
They definitely were not made in Italy.
Yeah. No, these started with an F, and I can't even remember what the name of it is. I'll have to find it and share it with you guys. But yeah,
They
I
were
would.
Ferragamos.
Pardon me?
They were Ferragamos.
Ooh.
No, they weren't
No?
that brand. No. But anyway, the only other thing I would probably trade is the dirt storms. And of course, that has to do with the weather and the location, not the people and the culture. And then I've always said, since I moved to the East Coast, I would much rather have a Texas tornado than a hurricane any day, because of all the anticipation, speculation, and what do you do? So did you find the shoes?
Familares.
That's it,
him.
Famolari.
That's it.
I was close. Close.
Hold it
Seriously.
up more. We'll hold
How
it
did
up
you-
more. We couldn't see it. Hold it up.
How did
all
you
the way.
pull that out of your?
That is so funny.
I just Googled. It's
called
wavy
Google.
soled- I did Google wavy soled
Yeah,
Italian
yeah.
shoes, and
So smart.
Wow.
They were really
You wore
comfortable, but we
those?
got a lot of grief. Yeah, my dad and I both, we were cool. Anyway,
You were way ahead of your time, Scotty.
we were.
Trendsetters.
And we shopped local.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
Shawnee, what about you?
No, I don't think I definitely wouldn't change anything. I've said a million times, it's a great place to grow up. And it's funny though, because I can't see myself raising my children there, but I wouldn't have wanted to be raised anywhere else. But I don't think there's anything that I would change. I had wonderful friends. I probably should have tried a little harder in school. My grades weren't the greatest. But so I probably could have helped that a little bit, but there's not really not anything I would change. It's funny, I'll tell somebody that I haven't missed any of my reunions, that I was at the 10, the 20, the 30, the 40, and they're like, I never went to any. And I'm like, what? I mean, I just can't imagine not going. I just love these people and I love that place.
Nice.
That's wonderful.
Mr. Taylor, counselor.
I got no regrets that involve any of these folks or any of the people in our class. I agree with everything that everybody's saying, man. My family moving to Plainview was just God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. Seriously. The other choice was Hayes, Kansas. And yeah. And that got ruled out, thank goodness. And so we ended up going to Plainview.
I'm sure it's a lovely place.
Yeah, I know. Right?
We're glad you
but-
moved to Plainview.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
Well, I'm glad that I would blame you. So, but there is one thing that it's like if you could go back and do basically anything differently, there's one thing that I thought of after reading the question, and that is, I don't know if y'all remember Dolores McCullough, who was our junior English teacher. We were the first to have her, and she saw something in me and really tried to bring it out, and I would have none of it. And the irony is, I thought of myself as a math and music guy. I really didn't see myself as much of a writer. And the irony, of course, is that in my adult life, I've been both a songwriter and I write every day now.
Mhm.
And so there are times when she wanted me to be in this extracurricular activity called Ready Writing. And no matter how many times I rebelled and said no, and behaved like a stubborn teenager, she was always really sweet to me and continued to offer the opportunity, and I would do that one over again if I could, but nothing else.
I
And
think
it
that's
turned out
really
okay.
awesome that she obviously saw something in you that at the time you had not recognized in yourself.
Right.
That's the mark of a really good teacher, I think.
Absolutely. And you know what? I think the reality is I was afraid of it. Math was pretty structured, music was pretty structured, but the thought of being creative, it just scared me.
Yeah, but she was a rookie teacher, though, right?
She had been the art teacher. No,
I'm
she'd been
kidding.
the art
I'm
teacher
kidding.
before that, and then she moved over to English. So yeah.
I would have given
Nah.
anything had Mrs. McCullough said anything about my writing that was remotely. Fact, I can't believe you said her name. I couldn't think of her name at all, but I can see her face. I can see that long braid. She had those, but I wrote a whole story about her.
Really?
I did. I'm like, I don't know where she came from. Like, she was this hippie
Right.
teacher that was in our big shoulder padded 80s big hair world in Little Texas. I don't know. She was like some anomaly from somewhere
Right.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she never read.
Acknowledged your right.
Bad. No, crushed me like a bug. No, but I'm happy you had a good experience. No, I really did. But I really did like her. You know what she said? And the whole story that I wrote about her was called Monkey Wrench. She used to say to us in that raspy voice where I'm like, why can't she get the words out? She's like,
Yeah.
they write it like a monkey wrench, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell that means, but okay. Go.
Yeah.
I really liked her though. She was good.
The thing was, at the time, they were not great experiences. Like, I didn't turn in the first writing assignment, and she called me out on it the next day. And of course, being all of 16, I insisted that I had turned it in, and she must have lost it, just being a jerk, and it turned out that, and she was very polite, very sweet. And she said, no, she referred to another teacher from the year before. She said, so-and-so used to do the ready writing, and she wanted you to do it last year and you didn't do it. But she told me about you, and I saw that you were going to be in my class. She said, when I got the assignments, I flipped through looking for yours. Oh man, I was so humiliated. And then that
Wow.
was it. It was pride, it was embarrassment, and some kind of small-mindedness on my part. Like I didn't know how to take her because she was so different from the other teachers. And today, what a gift that was,
You know who else she loved? Joe Horn. She loved him. Oh,
Everybody loved Joe Horn.
Who
Who
didn't?
wouldn't?
really? Gotta read Joe's story again.
I know. Well, that was so funny when I
Talk about
moved to,
Joe.
when I moved to Plainview, and started with y'all at Coronata. My coping mechanism in Austin had always been because I was the only kid that had lived in Europe, right? So that made me weird. So my response to that was to work hard, study hard, try to do really well in school. And I get to Coronado, and all I hear about is Joe Horn. I'm like, ah, they already have the smartest guy in the class.
There was no surpassing him.
No, none.
We all tried.
Yeah, I remember in band, he sat behind me, and OT would ask him, if LT's trying to figure a number, he would ask, Joe, what's 155 times 49, and within seconds, boom.
Oh yeah.
I looked,
Yeah.
I turned around, I'm like, really? So I gave him a few more. I mean, boom, boom. I'm like, damn, this guy's smart.
Yeah.
Totally.
And across the board smart, not just
Yeah.
in one. He was just across the
fun,
board smart.
and
Yeah.
all the things. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
fun.
Funny too, y'all. He's so funny.
Witty.
Oh,
Yeah.
hilarious.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
Him and Christy together are really funny.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
They are. I want to chime in here and talk about Joe Horn and Mark Ebling and Kevin Igo. Several years ago, I was talking to Kevin Igo when he was talking about how smart Mark Ebling was, and he is very intelligent, whatever engineering degree from A&M, whatever. And I said, the other person that was the smartest person I've ever seen in my life was Joe Horn. I said, the only difference between me and you, Kevin, I said, you didn't get to sit between them at College Hill Elementary in grade school and have to go, okay, I am way out of my league sitting between Joe Horn and Mark Ebling. I said, they are off the charts intelligent.
I bet you that was the best grades you ever had, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, between them, and I copied off of them. I was like, okay, yeah, Joe Horn, we grew up, whatever, but yeah, Joe Horn is off the charts intelligent and funny as all get out.
Oh, that's funny.
And let's just say congratulations to Joe on his recent retirement.
Yes.
Oh, congratulations.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And if I
I
may,
think we'll-
I won't belabor this point, but
I'm
as
sorry.
Laura mentioned, what?
I'm sorry I brought up Joe Horn.
Oh, no, it's all right. As Laura mentioned, I was working on a project up north in Maryland, and Brian Hallett lives up there. And I had tried to reach out to him through Facebook, and we connected, and then we kept missing each other because he travels a whole lot. And so finally, my last trip up there, after a year, we got together, and of course, it was like being with all you guys that we just picked up where we left off. And we're sitting at dinner, and I go, Brian, please excuse me. I said, I don't even know what it is to do for a living. And he goes, oh, I'm retired. He said, I've been retired for 9 years. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's how that works when you stay with corporate America, and don't go chase your adventure like I did. And he was very humble about it. And he said, I worked really hard. I was frugal, and, he had really good contracts with his work and everything. But I was really proud of him and happy for him. And
That's awesome.
yeah. So good for him,
Man, what
It's like
a,
he's
what
living
a
his
great
best
guy
life now.
too.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Bravo. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks great,
Yeah.
he's happy. You can tell he's happy.
Oh yeah, he's very happy. So
Kim, did you answer the question?
I did not.
Your turn?
No, she brought up Joe Horn.
I brought up Joe Horn.
I think we're, by the way, we're done,
Credit
guys.
for that. I
Deflecting,
hope somebody tells Joe to watch this podcast. What would I change? The only thing I would change is having to sit in that 6th grade class while they announced that I did not make varsity cheerleader. Definitely, I would have skipped school. I would have rip the microphone out. Like, what a horrible thing to make you sit there in class. Anyway, that's not that I'm still bitter, but when it came up, I was like, one thing I would change. But no, otherwise, I mean, everything was, I tell people that I grew up in a small town because, I lived in a lot of different places. I lived in New York and Chicago and Dallas numerous times. But when I tell people I'm from a small town, they're like, oh, I'm like, well, it was 25,000 people. They're like, well, that's not small. I'm like, but it was small. It was
Was.
high school small. It was all of
Very
us
small,
together
yeah.
from sixth grade,
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
and I said, oh, and did I mention that the next big town is like 6 hours away? So
right.
next to top was like, not only is it a small town, we're in the middle of nowhere. But no, it was really a great place to grow up. Yeah, really was. It was a lot of, and I didn't go back for a long time, and I did not get the invite for the 20-year reunion. I went to all the rest of them. But I will tell a funny story if I can, because I thought of it when I was there. The first, not the 10-year reunion, and I didn't get, and I wasn't invited to the 20-year somehow. I missed that. It must have been the 30-year that I went to. I took my husband with me, and we're going, and I must not have been on Facebook then. I don't know. You hadn't seen people on Facebook. Now you see people, and you know how we've all, are looking like different versions of ourselves. So, but I walked into that room and I walked back out, and I'm like, oh, this is the wrong room. I'm like, these people are old. I'm like, who are these people? Like, I don't know any of these people.
Yeah.
What?
I know. And so I walked out of the room, and John goes, no, it's right here on the door. He's like, it's here on the door, like class of 82. Shit. I'm like, that's us. That's okay. So that was my first. I'm like, I got to get on Facebook so I can see what people
Yeah.
look. And then, no, but it was just, it's been great to reconnect. Connie Murray's husband travels to Naples. She lives in, I think her husband's sister lives in Naples. So she's been down there several times. So I've been able to reconnect with her, and
Awesome.
that's been great. So yeah.
They're a lovely couple.
Yeah.
They really are so fun. Yeah.
She's funny, man. She's so
Hey,
funny.
when did you live in New York? What years?
And
Yes.
I lived there probably 88 to 91. I lived
Okay.
there the same year that Paul Thompson lived there. I saw
Mhm.
Paul a couple times.
Yeah,
And-
because I lived there also between 94 and 96. So yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Uh-huh. I
Oh,
was
I-
working in the garment center.
So was I.
So,
Crazy. That's
Cool.
exactly what I did.
Mhm.
Yeah,
was
real briefly, tell the story about after you first got there, and then you all would add another roommate, and how you bumped their rent up.
Oh, Scotty, that's not a nice story.
It's a hilarious story.
Well, this is how you have to survive in New York. Every time I only lived there 3.5 years, and I had 4 apartments, because every time I found a cheaper place to live, I would just pack all my stuff in the cab and move across town. But the first girl I lived with there, I didn't know. I only knew her. Like, she was the only person I knew in New York. I was working in Dallas in the apparel mart, and she was with one of the lines, and she lived in New York. And so I decided that I was going to move there. So I went there for over the weekend, and anyway, I interviewed and moved there, not having any idea. Literally, I moved there after I had been to New York for a weekend, and I wasn't sober probably for most of it. So I'm like, well, this seems like a really good idea. Let's move back to Dallas and pack all your shit up and take a pay cut and move to New York. So, but when I got there, she had this great, it was in a pre-war building on the Upper West Side, like I think 92nd between Columbus and Amsterdam. And it was rent controlled. So it was perfect.
Nice.
So it was only a 2-bedroom, I think, but we kind of makeshifted a bedroom on the first floor, put up a bookcase or something. So I was paying a lot of rent the first year that I moved there. And then the girl who was there, the other girl moved out, and somebody else moved in, and my roommate, and the one who had the lease on the apartment, she's like, oh, we'll just charge her more. I'm like, oh, is that how it works? And she's like, yeah, I can do more. You'll be the last one in. She's like, look at her. She's from Connecticut. Her dad has money. It's fine. She'll be fine. I'm like, okay. So anyway, whoever came, so Jude and I were paying like, couple $100 by the end of it. It was great.
Sounds
That's how
smart
you-
to me.
Well, see, you should have lived in Bay Ridge. I lived in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn,
Yeah.
which is right next to Staten Island, actually the horizontal bridge that
Yeah.
connects both those city or boroughs, and that's where I live. And I take the subway in.
Yep.
But yeah, I think I paid about $650 for one room.
Wow.
So yeah, and then I'll make a quick story. When I lived in Lubbock, me and my buddies would go out, and after send us give us the bill, we split it, to the penny, I go to New York and get invited to dinner at Houlihan's. I think it's Houlihan's restaurant underneath the Empire State Building, I believe.
Mhm. What was
Well,
it?
burgers were like 20 something bucks, beers were like $7.50. I'm like, shit, this is back in the mid 90s. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna have this and water. Well, when the tab came out, this girl goes, "Hey, okay, it's $75 for everybody." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "No way." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay,
To New
like,
York.
yeah, my $75 though for a burger and water and
You should
fries."
have had water for a reason.
Yeah. So there's this. I went to New York this spring, and that's the building I worked at, on
Oh,
119th
cool.
4th Street. I
Oh,
was right down the road from Bryant Park, and that's where they used to have the fashion shows. I was able to go to a couple of them. I think it was Ellen Tracy or I forgot the other one.
Cool.
But anyway, those, and that's when they had the supermodels. The 90s supermodels. Helena Christensen, Nikki Taylor. I was like,
When I lived
Here's
there,
a-
you wouldn't walk through Bryant Park on a bet. It was
yeah,
like
I heard back that it was a lot of drugs and stuff.
Yeah.
so bad. I walked
So-
through there one day by accident, and cops are beating this. I mean, it was like you're like, oh, okay, made a wrong turn. But
Mm.
turn around.
Hey,
Yeah.
Kim, I remember where you were on your 20th reunion. You were at your ORU reunion.
I was not at my ORU reunion.
Oh, I'm sorry. We
What
aren't
reunion
supposed
I
to
never
take
went
on
to.
our classmates, are we? Sorry.
It's been a long time, Scotty.
Hey, if you remember, I could have got a full ride there from my grandmother if I would have committed to go to that school, but I did not.
Why didn't you come there with me?
Because I didn't want to go there.
Neither did I.
Yeah, I know.
I went
All
for
right,
one day.
next question.
Yeah.
Lisa.
The next question. Well, I'm going to answer the question because Michael and I had fun writing these questions, and we asked each other what would we go back and change. I think I would have been a little bit more rebellious, and not so confined. But I got to be rebellious later in life, so it all worked out. So if we had smartphones back in '82, what is a memory or a story that you wish you could have captured? Thank God we didn't have smartphones.
Yeah.
Let's see that there.
Who wants to start this?
I would have put I would have put a baby camera or whatever that is in my car to know that Scotty stole it every day after school and moved it to another part of the parking lot.
What?
I don't know
I
how
don't
many you
remember
made this,
this.
but literally, how many days in a row did you move my car, Scotty? And I had no idea where it was.
I don't
Actually,
remember this.
Kim, it wasn't Scotty.
It wasn't him.
We heard this story from the Wawas. It was Stacy Gabriel who had your key.
Yeah, but Scotty's the one who talked. It's all Scotty.
Okay,
wasn't-
but then what's
Wasn't
funnier?
Scotty.
She gave the key to Brent, who Carrie, youngest sister of Kim, and you gave Carrie her car. You gave Carrie your car, and they did the same thing to Carrie. They
Oh
moved
my
your car.
gosh.
They
oh, that's
did.
funny.
No.
That is funny.
One of the things I was going to
Oh,
read you
really?
guys, senior quotes. You beat me to it, Kim, and you wrote in your senior quote, "Where's my car?"
Oh, that's
Yes,
right.
it
That's
became like
right.
a
Oh,
joke.
that's funny.
So I just wanted. I forgot to ask Brent, how did Stacy end up with a copy of your car key?
Don't know.
Okay.
Scotty, you didn't move my car?
I don't remember that, but it's funny. It sounds like something I would do. Yeah,
I'll just say claim it because it's really funny.
Right.
I'll claim it. I'll claim
Yeah.
it. The
blocked it
first
out.
thing I thought of is I was standing there, and had I had a smartphone, I could have videotaped it. And for the life of me, I can't remember who it was, but they had one of those badass pickups, and the tailgate was down, because they went through this phase where it was really cool to drive with your tailgate down.
It was.
And they were backing out of a parking space, and this car was behind them, coming behind them, and they sliced right into it like a knife. And I can't remember who were the two people were involved, but that's something that you could have put on a little Instagram story. So
That could have gone viral.
oh yeah, most
Yeah.
definitely.
Sure.
Luckily, nobody was in the car behind.
And I don't want to monopolize the time, but there was another thing that would have been funny is Laura and I were in a class on the second floor, and I think it might have been a typing class or something, which is even hilarious to say. But it was in the front part of the building, and the classroom overlooked the courtyard, and they were spraying for mosquitoes, and one of those big OB whatever planes was flying over, and it was so low, and Laura and me and several others, we were hitting the deck because we thought the plane was coming into the building. So
Wow.
remember that, Laura?
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't worry about all those chemicals all the children are.
No.
Right.
Oh yeah.
They were helping, looking for your car, Kim.
Yeah.
They're spraying, looking for your vehicle.
I know what's wrong with all of us.
I was thinking
Well-
about this question the other day, and Shonnie would probably agree. I think it would have been funny for us to record us sneaking out of my house, putting my car in neutral, pushing it out of the driveway, just almost incessantly every night. I mean, just
I
almost every
remember
night.
those stories.
Yeah. And then showing up, then we'd coast it back in neutral, engine off, and coast it back into the driveway, sneak back in, and act like we'd been there all night. We'd stay out all night.
Where?
But
Wait,
Where'd
it
you
wasn't
guys go?
me.
Oh,
I
just
wasn't with you.
yes, you. Oh,
Uh-huh.
it was. We'd
Your
go to
idea.
preacher's house. We'd go to. I mean, it didn't matter. We'd go. We just would go. I mean, the guys.
Was-
Until there was nothing else to do, and I'm like,
there
can
was
we go
nothing
home and
else
go
to
to bed
do.
now?
Was
Yeah.
alcohol involved?
Very seldomly. Not then, because we had to drive to Nazareth to get alcohol. So it
Yeah.
was usually we would act like we would put her stuffed animals under the covers in case Edith came in there.
In case mom came and
Uh-oh.
checked on us.
It looked like we were in bed asleep, and then her bathroom window was like from floor to ceiling with this little crank. So it just cranked and it opened up like a door.
We just had
and
to
you
step
step
out.
and then you go around. We would have trouble when we got the car down to, it would get to the bottom of the driveway, and it had a little dip up to the road.
Right.
And so we had to push it a little hard, and we'd go 1, 2, 3, and then we would die laughing instead of pushing like we were supposed to. But then we'd finally get it out, and off we'd go. And it wasn't very long before we were like, okay, nobody's out. Everybody's at home and sleep. We got to go home. But we had fun times.
We did have fun.
But yes, I can't think of a really good reason for us to have smartphones back then. I'm
No,
perfectly happy
No.
we did.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I think a lot more of us would have been in jail overnight at least.
Well, no, there's no good reason to have a smartphone, but if there was a story that you wished you could have captured on film, that's the question. Walt, what about you?
Well, it wouldn't be in 1982. It would be in 76, 77. And Laura's going to kill me for this, but it would be when we had Jerry Don George for Texas history. And
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So,
I-
so,
Yeah.
she could do anything, and he just let her go, and I don't remember what happened, but something happened and she wasn't getting what she wanted from him. And she kind of like tromped back to her seat, and she sat down and she was mad. And he was in the back of the room and he says, Laura, I know you're not very happy with me right now, but you're going to have to live with me. And Laura turns around, she goes, I don't have to live with you. And the
Oh.
whole class just busted up. I mean, I remember that like it was 5 minutes ago, Laura. It was hilarious.
I don't know who I thought I was.
Our branch.
So, and I've never been able to do that story justice. And I wish I had that on a smartphone, you know.
I
That
loved
would have to go
him.
viral.
Oh my gosh.
I did too. I loved him. I loved
loved
him.
him.
Oh, he was incredible.
Yes.
He was the reason I loved politics.
Mm.
Really.
Mm,
He's the,
wow.
do you remember that he made us choose?
Oh,
Yes, I
yeah,
do.
we had to do a big binder.
Campaign.
Remember,
You
we
had
had to
to
do a
write.
big binder.
Right.
Yeah. You either had to be for, oh God, we're really dating ourselves. You
Well,
had to be
yeah,
Ford or Carter.
that's right.
You had to
Mm.
choose Republican or
remember that.
Democrat.
Mhm.
And, you know,
Wow.
you had to put wine, you had to create this folder and decorate it.
Didn't I? Yeah.
And
No,
then
I,
present it, I remember.
He's the reason that I love Texas history.
Mhm.
yeah.
And in particular, you know, because I get to go be in all these old courthouses, and
Mhm.
Texas just has these amazing,
Mm.
beautiful courthouses. And
It
so whenever I go to a new county for a hearing, you know, I take pictures of the courthouses, the courtroom, and post them. And
That's
I mean,
fun.
it's just amazing. I think of him. You
Yeah,
know,
that's fun.
all
Yeah,
the
I
time.
loved him to death. Loved
Yeah.
him.
Is he still
Here's
alive?
the
Yeah.
As far as I know.
I don't know.
Google, I'll be right back.
That was seventh grade? That was seventh grade,
Yeah,
right?
that was 7th grade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Harold, what about you, man?
All right. I was sitting here thinking, when I was a freshman in high school, when you walked in that door by the cafeteria and you went straight down that hallway, I was in Ms. Brown's English class. What was it, 8:30 or 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning? Me and Tim DeOnda, and I can't remember who else. And you mind this, we were freshmen, and Tim Burge and Grant Taylor were on that football team in '78. So me and Tim DeOnda are sitting in Miss Brown's English class. They backed Tim Burge's pickup up to those doors next to the cafeteria going down that hallway.
Mm.
And all of a sudden they spin out those big back tires on his back pickup, and they open up the doors, and all of a sudden there is black smoke coming down that hallway. I mean, it's just billowing out. And me and Tim DeOnda get up and we walk over like two little sneaky kids, and we're looking out the door. I mean, it was off the charts. What's
I
really
remember
cool,
that day.
if you videoed that now and caught them on whatever, they would be convicted, stuck under the jail, whatever. Tim Burge and Grant Taylor, they just went over there and parked his pickup, walked into school, and went back to class. I don't think anything ever happened to them.
Wow.
Yeah.
The other thing I remember, y'all remember Glenn Pendergrass?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Do y'all remember when we were freshmen when Glenn, he was a junior because he's my sister Karen's age. You
The
remember
motorcycle?
when he came in that high school and rode his motorcycle up and down the hallway, up
I
the
remember.
stairs,
Up the stairs.
up
Yeah.
the stairs and all that?
I remember that.
And that's another thing, Laura. I'm sitting there looking at you tilting your head and I'm going, you know, if any of us, you know, if you'd had video of that, you wouldn't have been put in jail. You'd have been put under the jail. I mean, that's whatever. I remember the other thing too. I thought about this the other day. I walked in that same door where they spun out the tires and all that, turned the corner, and all of our lockers as freshmen were over there in that deal over towards the shop class and the ag
Mhm.
department.
Yep.
Right.
Y'all remember walking through there in that senior class as freshmen? I don't know how they got all these animals up on that high school, and they lowered them into the courtyard.
Oh,
I don't remember that.
I do. I turned that corner. I left my sister Karen and turned left, and she went down the hallway. I walked down in that courtyard, and there was a goat. There was some chickens. There was a baby calf. And there was whatever, and I'm stopped in the middle of that deal going, and I'm looking at the walls on that thing. And back in our day, I don't think they ever did anything to any of them. They might have called them in and said, "Don't do that again."
Right.
But if you did it today, we'd be under the jail. But yeah,
Yeah.
those are the three things I remember basically from my freshman year in high school. And it
Well,
was
you
hilarious.
you
know?
gotta think if we had smartphones back then, there would have been cameras on those
Oh,
buildings.
yeah. Somebody would have been videoing it, Flo. But yeah,
Mhm.
it was,
It would have gone viral for sure.
Would-
yeah,
Maybe Kim would have caught her person that kept moving her car if she had
yeah, yeah, yeah,
access to those cameras.
Definitely would have had a nanny cam in my car.
yeah. Kim wouldn't have lost her car
That's
because
right.
of Sandy Hill.
Every day, every year.
All right.
Those are three events in basically my
Good
freshman
ones.
year that were absolutely hilarious when I think back on them, because we'd have all been dead in this day and age.
Absolutely.
Those are really memorable experiences, memorable memories. And somebody in one of our podcasts mentioned about the truck and the exhaust. Remember, Michael?
I think it was the Wawas, I think.
Somebody mentioned that.
Maybe not. Maybe I don't recall.
No, because they would have been too young to know that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was one of
Maybe
our,
it's class of 81.
yes, it was class of 81.
Well,
Maybe
yeah.
Kevin Box and those
Kevin
guys,
Box.
maybe.
Yeah, it could have been Kevin Box or Vondel Burnett or some of
Yeah.
them, but yeah, me and Vondel had talked about it and laughed since we've gotten grown up, how all that transpired and nothing ever happened, dude. I mean, it was over in a heartbeat.
So this is a really weird question, and I don't know why we've never asked it on any podcast, but it just occurred to me when y'all were sharing these stories. Do y'all ever have dreams that you're going back to high school and you can't find your locker, or you're late for class, or you can't figure out the combination to your lock, or no?
Mm-mm.
Okay,
No.
I think that would be a
I'm weirdo.
trauma-induced, that would be trauma-induced dream, and I don't know that I had any trauma in high school, you know?
I have
Oddly enough, I was at a dinner party last week and something came up about high school or something. And what I remember is I don't think we did it our freshman year because we weren't smart enough. But I remember that our lockers were all in different places of the building, and we didn't lock them up, and we would share those lockers and drop our books there so we wouldn't have to carry them around. And you would leave the book for whatever class you were going to be at, near
On that side of the building, yeah. Like on
Yeah,
that
do you
side
all
of the building.
remember that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I don't,
What
but
happened
that's
to, Walt's like, hey, what happened to me?
I'm like, man, I was carrying
And that's
books
what's always
all over that
cracked me
school,
up.
upstairs, down, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we didn't have backpacks back then.
And of course, I never would
No.
take a book home, so it didn't matter to me.
What about you, Shonnie? Any besides sneaking the vehicle out?
Oh, gosh.
I have, I will have random dreams about people from high school.
Mm.
And that's weird, but I've never dreamed about not finding my locker or anything. Just more fun things. But yeah, I'll have random dreams about people, but I don't ever dream about that kind of stuff. So yeah.
What about a moment you wished you could have caught on a smartphone?
No, I'm telling you, it's best that there were no smartphones back then. I don't even want to think about
Come on, you have amongst friends. We're not going to publish this. It's just going to stay within us.
How
No,
about,
okay. It's more importantly that Laura didn't have one, because there was a time when, let's just say, I was supposed to be asleep in her bed and I wasn't feeling so good and she was having to help me. And let's just say, I'm glad there was no smartphones back then, or she would have something. She already does. She knows. That's the thing. She knows things I don't want anybody else to know. What are you going to say?
Michael was talking, I think there's a question about Lake McKenzie stories.
Ah,
Go.
The
Yeah,
boat.
don't remember.
let's
The
go.
boat.
Oh, that boat.
Yeah.
That. I was thinking about me. That was, do y'all know this? Can I tell the story?
Sure.
Oh, y'all are gonna love this.
Gary's
So
gonna, hey, Gary said he's gonna watch it, so he's gonna watch this. My brother, he's gonna watch this tomorrow. So it involves all 4 of the branch kids, and then Shonnie was with us.
So we are in the boat. Patrick and I are in the front. He's asleep, and I'm just laying out in the front part, watching where we're going. Gary's driving. Laura's behind him, being bossy, and Julie is skiing. And I guess Laura's telling Gary what he needs to be doing, and so he's looking at her. And all
No,
of a
he's
sudden-
telling me, we're arguing because he says,
They're
I can
arguing.
back a trailer. I said, I can back a trailer. He goes, you can't back a trailer. I can back a trailer. And then before we know it,
Julie is back there like trying to ski and wave hands. And so they're looking at her trying to figure out what she's saying. And we hit land. I see us.
Oh
coming.
shit!
We're
Oh,
coming. And it's
Yo.
probably the only place on the whole lake that is red dirt instead of rock. Thank you, Jesus. And
Yes.
I see us,
Man.
and I grab a hold because I think we're fixing to hit. And they're still arguing. And Julie is watching the whole thing happen, and they're looking at her. Patrick literally just flies in the air because he was asleep. When we hit, he just flies, and I fly, and the motor goes under the propellers going,
and all this
mud everywhere.
all over
Julie is-
Julie.
Oh
Julie's
my
Oh,
God.
trying-
wow.
And Gary's like, oh no, oh no.
And I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh. And
We had to
up.
swim under and dig the red
Oh,
clay
no.
because they didn't want to tell Tico that they did it. We took it
What
back
happened
and
to
said we
Julie?
didn't know what was wrong with it.
Yeah.
She
Forget
caught
about
up to the
Julie. She
boat.
was fine.
She caught up.
We're all fine.
Okay. All right.
But we had they lied. They just said they didn't know why the boat wasn't working anymore. And
Julie's
nobody
back
knows
in
that story
Plainview.
till now.
It's longer.
Oh man.
It's
They had
like
to place
if,
the prop on the boat. That was about it. I think it was scratched up, but that, we didn't break the hull or
Yeah.
anything, which was kind of shocking.
Amazing.
it's like that viral. If you guys seen that viral with the people in the boat and there's a camera at them and they're swaying and all of a sudden they hit something, everybody just crashes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Shonnie and Patrick just went flying through
He
the
just
air.
flew.
I mean, it came to a direct stop. I mean, it was, and Gary was like, oh my gosh, and Julie catches up and there's mud flying and I'm just sitting there going, oh gosh. It's just
So
like,
were you blamed for it? Did Gary blame you?
oh no.
No, they just said it wasn't working. There was no
No.
blame. We never told anybody till just now.
Oh wow.
Dad, I mean, and Dad
Oh,
doesn't
the
care now.
truth
He's
comes
passed
out.
away, so it doesn't really matter.
Ooh.
So,
Is Julie furious?
do what?
Is Julie furious?
She was going, I was trying to tell y'all. I was trying to tell y'all. We were like, well, we had no idea what you were saying.
He's like, where are you going? And they're like, what?
I think we probably thought she was saying, go faster.
I could
Go
just see her going
faster."
by saying assholes.
And then we couldn't get it
Oh.
started. So then we had to be towed by this little bitty fishing boat across to the,
Oh, wow.
the ramp so that we could load
Wow.
it.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I'm just
I think-
thankful y'all can share the story and it's funny and nothing tragic happened.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Yes.
Is there a historical marker there now?
I know, right?
The
We were lucky.
branches
We were
and
very
tremble.
lucky. Funny now, though.
Well, that's a good story.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
That's hilarious.
Crazy.
So let's talk more about Mackenzie. What about you other guys, Harold or Taylor? You guys have any cool Mackenzie? Because I think every senior year, everyone took a trip after they practiced. Correct? We did after we did our practice,
I don't think we did.
and then
We
we
did.
went to Lake Mackenzie. So
I mean, we were
Kim?
there every other day of the year. We were there all
I
Wait,
went there
it-
with a church group one time, but that was it. No
what
story.
about Kim? Did you jump off the high cliffs or anything?
I don't remember going there much. I mean, I know I was there, but I don't remember. It's not a big memory. I'm pretty sure unless somebody pushed me, I didn't jump off a cliff. Somebody could have pushed me. But
Well, I'm gonna
I
chime in.
remember that Andy Berry and Russ and all them, they would jump. And I'm like, there's no way I'm climbing up there and jumping. Not happening. No.
and then
I
you
was
did.
there.
I'm a scaredy cat. I didn't like jumping off the high board at the country club. Jay Millard made me stay up there for 5 hours one day.
Oh, Jesus.
Because they wouldn't let you come down the ladder, would they?
Yeah, and I didn't wanna jump.
So mean.
Awful.
Well, I'm gonna chime in here and Laura can probably help me on this one. I don't remember, it's probably gotta be our junior year, Laura, after spring training in football. Me, Jerry Cargill, I think Luther S. Thompson. I don't remember all the guys that were in on this trip, but it was the last day of spring training and we had planned this trip to McKenzie. And I had a big gash on my nose from getting it cut in practice. And we had this big giant tent and we went to McKenzie, set it up, drinking beer, doing whatever we shouldn't have been doing. And all I remember is Laura, maybe Jody McGowan. I don't know who all showed up. And we're all the guys were laid in their sleeping bags. I don't even know what time of the morning, probably somewhere after 9 o'clock. And we all wake up and they found us and we're all laying in the tent and they're all standing over the top of us, looking at us. You remember that, Laura?
Vaguely.
And I remember you because I'm sleeping at one end of this whole deal. And like I said, Jerry Cargill, Luther S. Thompson, God knows whoever else is in that tent. And the first thing I remember is waking up and Laura Branch is looking at me over the top of me. And I've got this big gash on my nose from the last spring game, whatever. So give me your 2 cents, Laura.
I'm sitting here thinking, golly, I was everywhere. I'm thinking, how did I
really were.
there?
Oh, you were. You were.
I don't
You
even know
were.
how we found y'all.
I don't know either, but yeah, it was funny. And me and I think Luther have talked about it. And me and Jerry Cargill, Jay Webb may have been there too, because we talked about it when we've all got together. And then we all hung out at the lake that day and whatever. But yeah, it was hilarious because.
Well, it definitely wasn't your smartphone with Find My Friends.
And then all of us crazy boys, we went over there and we went cliff jumping and doing backflips and all that, landing in that water.
I mean, y'all may have been on the beach where we all went anyway, is all I'm
That
thinking.
was where we spent most of the time. Laura.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that was pretty much where we all hung out. So that might have been where you were, and there you were. We found you.
Stumbled onto them.
Yeah. I mean, but we had a tent, and I couldn't even tell you to this day, Laura, where that damn tent was.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it to save my life, and I've been over there a million times. But I do remember there was a whole bunch of y'all showed up, and we all hung out, and it's a wonder we're not dead from that weekend.
It's a wonder we're not dead from a lot of things, really.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah. Taylor, what about you, counselor? Did you go to Lake McKenzie? And
I went one time with a church group. Don't have any stories from there, but well, he just left. But Harold probably saved my life one night the next year, our senior year. That big New Year's Eve party. Kevin Mosley drove me home, and I remembered that forever. But I made the connection at the 40th reunion that it was Harold who drove my car home. Anyway, that was live and learn.
That must have been some night, Walt.
Oh man,
Yeah.
it was brutal.
well,
You missed it, Harold. I was thanking you for saving my life New Year's Eve senior year. Where Kevin drove me home, and I figured out at the last reunion that it was you who drove my car home. So, yeah, I've been wondering for 40 years how that car got home. I have no idea.
God moved it for you.
whoever moved Kim's car, they probably moved
Exactly.
it.
Could have been the same
Right?
person.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to talk about Kim's car and Joe Horn all night long. So those are the two major.
Yeah.
To be a running theme.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
What about you, Scotty? Did you make that trip up to Lake McKenzie and get wild?
I did not. I did not drink, and I wasn't sporty, and I've always been Casper, and I would burn. So, and I couldn't swim, and I wasn't a water skier, so I never did really go. I think the one time I did go was our senior party, and it was a lot of fun. I went with David Higdon, and we're driving home, and I don't know if you recall what a conversationalist David was, but it was we were deep
I bet he
in
talked your ear off.
conversation.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great. Yeah, and
Like, come on, David, enough. I want to talk.
it was very dark, as you can imagine, in Texas, no moon, and all of a sudden, both of us look up, and we're in the middle of a herd of cows, and they were on the road. And
Oh my
how we did not graze a cow or at all, or, and just went on through them. It's, that's a God
Wow.
thing right there. So,
Sure.
anyway, yeah.
Bet at one time?
I'm sorry.
Did David have a Corvette at one time, or he drove his dad's Corvette or something?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, he's an attorney as well.
Yep.
South Texas.
And his older brother,
Yeah,
Paul.
Paul.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was in karate with me when we were younger. Him and Jesse Mercado, Jesse Mercado, class of '82. They're the only two guys I ever saw do the Chinese splits, like just
Mm.
straight, not this way, but just straight, and they would just boom drop. I'm like, there's
Wow.
no way. Yeah, the only
Wow.
two
That's
men I ever
impressive.
saw.
Did
Mhm.
somebody from your class drive a funky car like the Volkswagen It or something like that?
It was the Thompsons,
Thompsons. Yeah, I love
Paul
that.
and Steve
Paul and
Thompson,
Steve,
and
yeah.
they had
We've had
a Volkswagen theme, and it was white and blue stripe. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that vehicle. It was super
Yeah, it
cool.
was fun. Yeah.
And
You don't remember my car? I had a
I do.
1960 I had a 1963 Plymouth Valiant Signet that was my grandfather's.
Oh my goodness.
Scotty,
God, I
remember
remember that
when we
car.
were Scotty, remember when we were skipping one day and Dean Smith is behind us at a red light? Do you remember
Oh yes, that was
that? We're like
unbelievable.
duck. We're all like ducking.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
like-
Oh,
yeah.
man.
The driver, you ducked as a driver.
He didn't drive. He didn't duck. We did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It was hilarious.
Busted? Were you busted? for it?
Yeah, did you guys get in trouble?
I
No,
don't think so. No. He was busy,
he was awesome.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, speaking of getting busted, who got licks?
All
I'll
right.
I still
All
have
right, Sean.
emotional scars from the last time I got
Hey.
them.
So it's funny,
Hey.
as I was reading your questions, I was like, I could not remember any of my teachers. I couldn't remember things. But then it's like, how many licks? I know. I got 27. I got busted 27
Ah.
times
Oh,
my
my
senior
God.
year.
Oh my
Who?
goodness. Wow.
I
Oh,
skipped
right.
all the time. I
Oh.
always got in trouble for skipping. And he
Why
would
would
even,
you be
one
cannon?
time they sent me to D Hall. I went to D Hall one time, which means sitting in that little thing and not talking for 2 hours, which was pure torture. And I went in the next day and I go, okay, I cannot do more than one day of that. You go ahead and we'll settle up, do my squats, whatever we need to do. And from that point on, I was like, just give me my licks. Don't call my mother. Don't make me do D Hall. I'm fine. At 27.
man.
27.
27.
Yeah, I
I
bet
bet
y'all
you've
can beat
I
that.
bet you've got the record. I'm pretty sure you do.
Yeah. We're
Oh,
gonna make
wow.
a trophy for you.
Exactly, for the next reunion.
Yeah.
Trophy.
Who was the little assistant principal? McBee.
McBee.
McBee, yeah.
I
Yeah.
got looks from him one
I
time.
got licks from him too.
Ouch.
He was the last one that I got him from.
Yeah.
And from what I recall, let me think how this goes. Laura had actually written a note for me, and her and I missed school.
I
And
tried
somehow
that.
I got busted. Yeah.
Oh,
And
that didn't work.
yeah, and I'll never forget, like, he would take a step back and step into it
Oh yeah.
and like
He had fun.
almost throw you through the room. And years later, there was a news story on, and I'm like, I wonder if I could sue them and sue the school, help me out, Walt.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, it's like, it's probably the reason I had a problem with my L5S1 and had to have back surgery, So,
Oh, man.
The
Well, I
worst
did
Another
one I had
funny
to wear
a couple of
story.
years ago. It's probably from that. Yeah.
Yeah.
we would wear
Another
those
funny
baggy
story.
overalls. Those baggy overalls. I had
Oshkosh.
bright, and I had to get
Mm.
licks in those bright, and they're baggy, and there was
Oh,
no.
wow.
Oh, it hurts so
They were
bad.
thin, that the material
Yeah,
was super
thin.
thin.
Ah.
I remember
Bright
that
orange.
because you were
I'll never
asking
forget it.
somebody if they had gym shorts or something you could put on underneath, before you went. I remember that.
You
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
It-
man.
it did never seem. I mean, it was just part of our life. We just, you
Oh, I didn't think it
got
was
Yeah.
bad.
whacked,
Yeah.
whatever.
Wasn't
But when
that
I
big
was
of
a
a deal.
senior, that creepy science teacher. I can't think of his name. It was like
Coach
chemistry.
Buchanan?
I don't know. I
With
don't
the
know.
curly hair.
I have blocked him
Dark.
out totally. I thought he was,
Tall, dark headed.
I got it from Coach Buchanan. I got it from Mrs. Berry. I was late to her class one time.
but I
so.
remember he was giving licks to Diana Hayes in the hall.
Coach Buchanan.
And I'm looking at him and I'm like, that's creepy. That's like creepy. Like something is not, like all kinds of signals now going off. I'm like, okay,
Did she have a cheerleading outfit on or what?
I don't know. I don't know, but
Michael?
he was,
Why? He said it was creepy.
but she was just in the hall. She probably did. I didn't have mine on because, as you know, I didn't make varsity cheerleader.
Yeah, we know. We heard.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard that. or
No,
not.
I don't know this. Will you please enlighten me? Why did
I'm
you
gonna
not
start
make
a
varsity
I'm
cheerleader?
gonna start a I'm gonna
Go
start a
for it.
GoFundMe page for you to get some therapy
For
for
her
that.
therapy.
Kim's therapy for not making cheerleader.
So why
That
didn't you make
and-
cheerleader there, Kim? You brought it up. Come on.
Oh
Was
no,
it Joe Horn's
Why?
fault?
kidding. I don't know. I just was thinking because I never thought about it until I had to read those questions, and I'm like, oh, I was sitting in that class.
That's hilarious.
The trauma just comes back and settles.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry. These are Lisa questions, by the way.
I've got to chime in here talking about licks in
Nice,
high
Lisa.
school. When I learned that I didn't really want licks from Mr. McBee,
Yeah.
I was a freshman. Irvin Davis was a junior in high school. I got sent to the office just to pick something up in that office. And y'all know how big Irvin Davis was.
Oh, it was
Sure,
a solid
yeah.
rock.
Yeah, he looked like the Black Hulk. I mean, that's exactly what he looked like to me. But I walked in that office right there on that main hallway. Irvin Davis, and I walked in. They said, "What do you need?" I said, "I need to pick up such and such for so and so class, whatever." He had Irvin Davis bent over, fixing to give him licks. He lit Irvin up, and that's the only time in my life I think that man has ever had tears in his eyes
Oh, I
when
believe
he
it.
stood up.
My goodness.
And
Yeah.
my little skinny butt weighing 150 pounds, I looked over at that table and I went, this shit is never happening to me. And he will take my little bony butt in half.
Yeah,
You
but
never got
what
licks,
did you
Harold?
do?
Oh, did you get did Urban threaten you to say, if you tell anyone that I teared
Oh,
up,
hell no.
your ass is mine?
Irvin
No,
had
it's a-
tears in his eyes, and I grabbed my stuff and I left. But Irvin was like,
Carol, how did
oh,
you
no, this ain't happening to me.
how did
You
handle
never
that,
got
though?
licks?
If you took
Oh,
the all
yeah,
instead
I
of
got-
licks, then you get them from the coach, right?
Oh, I got licks from Coach Beasley, Mr.
Beasley.
Charlesley, Mr. Dixon.
Dixon.
Oh, yeah, I got
Mr.
plenty
Dixon,
of
too.
licks in high school.
I bet you didn't get 27 licks though.
No,
No, Shonnie
didn't.
wins. Shonnie wins.
Oh no, Shonnie wins
I
hands.
probably
I bet
got-
you could combine all y'all's licks and they won't come up to 27.
I bet it
Oh,
would. They give you
Well,
3 at
when-
a time.
when,
You did always get they came in threes. Yeah.
when Irvin got those licks, I was like, there is no way in hell I'm going to wind up with Mr. McBee giving me licks.
Right.
I got them from him.
Oh,
Yeah, me too.
Mm.
my senior year, I was was it by semesters or 6 weeks back then? I forget. But I
It was
worked in the
6 weeks.
office. I worked in the office for like a 6 weeks,
Quarters.
and I've seen a lot of men, young boys and girls, just tearing up. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Mo, I mean, yeah, all those guys. There's, and yeah, it was it was painful for me to hear it. So
Yeah.
luckily,
Oh
I
yeah,
never
it would,
got,
it
I
would
never got one.
echo through the whole building.
Oh yeah,
So,
absolutely.
So let me ask you guys, because I never got looks from him. Would he say anything before he hit you guys? Did he would say I apologize? Because I remember at Mr. Estes when he gave me licks, he goes, "Hey, no hard feelings, been over." I'm like, really? F
Like,
you,
this is
man.
gonna hurt
F
me
you.
more than it's gonna hurt you.
Pretty hard
Yeah.
feelings for me.
yeah.
Right?
So to make B say
All I
anything?
remember is they would make sure there was nothing in your pockets and tell
Yeah.
you to hold onto the desk.
Held on
Yeah.
to the
And-
chair.
Yeah, or whatever. I don't remember, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember any, oh, that was a good one, or sorry,
No.
anything,
Yeah,
so,
they neither taunted
Anyway.
nor were they overly
No,
compassionate.
excited.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
It just happened. They,
Very,
Well,
they
very
probably,
businesslike.
if you think
Yeah.
about it, they were amazing men. They probably hated it. If you think about it, that was just the way things were done back then. But I doubt they enjoyed
Yeah.
hitting us. I really don't.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm with Shonnie. I don't think they enjoyed it. It was just part of the corporal punishment situation that we all grew up in.
That's
You
right.
know?
Yeah.
And obviously, I was a slow learner.
No, you were smart. You were smart, but you were. Can I say you were dumb to get caught
Evidently,
27 times?
Evidently, Shonnie, you got 27 licks, and I bet everybody else in this group, we couldn't total it up. So there you go. But I still love you, girl.
So
I did see a paddle hanging in Shonnie's house that I guess Steve uses.
oh, did he sign it and give it to her? Oh, that was nice.
No, I meant her husband. I'm
Lordy.
joking.
Oh,
She
my bad.
enjoys it. I'm
Uh-huh.
joking. and joking, so.
Okay, let's take that part out.
Wow. Oh my.
We're gonna have to
We have
edit.
found the level of the room.
I'm with Walter. The conversation is going south here. So
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Mr. McBee retired. He should have given you that paddle. I really think you might
I
have.
think it was rightfully yours, Shonnie.
Yeah.
Rightfully, you earned it, girl. You earned it.
Oh wow, that's yeah, that's good. I don't think anyone's gonna break that record. So hey, future
No.
podcast, we need to see if there's anyone that has more than 27.
No, that's enough.
I think it's something that you counted.
I
well,
take that.
another thing that's
Never
talking about getting busted. My mom taught school over at Thunderbird with Laura's mom for a lot of years. And I was in shop class and I made her a paddle. Unbeknownst to me, Mr. whoever the shop teacher was said, "Would you take it to your mom?" I was like, okay, because she needed a new paddle. So I take it over to my mom at Thunderbird, walk into the class and I hand it to her. And my dumb self is walking out of the classroom. My mom walks up behind me and takes a big swat on my foot and just almost levels me on the floor.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And I'm like, I didn't do anything to deserve that. And she just grinned at me. She said, "Go back to school." And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I didn't respect the little women who you got in trouble and they wouldn't give you the licks. They'll find a man to bust your ass. I'm like, come on, if I got in trouble in your class, you should give us the licks. But no.
Give it to Mr. McBee.
Yeah, I look again. I
Yeah.
never got any from him at all. So thank God. Ooh, I'll still be feeling it by now. Taylor, you mentioned something about Brenda. You seen Brenda Montez?
Oh yeah. So so I'd been in Austin about 3 years and was junior in college, I guess, there at UT. And I started working for a law firm downtown first as a runner and then as a paralegal. And in those days, Austin only had 2 towers, the black one and the gold one. And I was working in the gold one, which at the time, well, first it was the American Bank Tower, and then later it was called M-Bank. And I walk into the elevator on my way to work, and man, there's Brenda Montez right in front of me. And at first I'm thinking, that cannot possibly be her, right? And I don't want to be stupid, right? But then I'm like, well, if it's not her, then who's she going to tell? Not anybody I know. And so I just go, and I didn't really know her in high school. I mean, I just knew who she was. And so I said, hey, are you Brenda Montez? She's like, yes. And I introduced myself and we shook hands, and I didn't really know. I found out when we were preparing for this that she was actually on her way to a job interview in that building. And what happened was, a few years later, I got a job at my first law firm job, and it was in a different building, the First City Bank building. And I kept running into her over there. And I'm like, this is totally legit. I'm sure Brenda's going to think I'm stalking her, but really, I have a right to be here. Like, here's my business card. No, but we would run into each other at lunch. We'd run into each other in, just elevators and all that. And it was just like, I don't know. It was just like a real breath of fresh air, to see somebody from Plainview in downtown Austin all the time.
She's a very successful realtor here. She's
Yeah.
a very successful realtor
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, she is.
Well,
Yeah.
let me go, Kim.
Yeah.
Did you see any Plainview people living in New York? I mean, not visiting, but just or St. Louis?
I saw Paul Thompson when I lived in New York a couple times. I saw more college people, like people like Laura would know, maybe like Randall Mosier. I saw some I saw some college people, but nobody from Plainview, nobody in Chicago. No.
I just saw Jody. I saw Jody last weekend at a baby shower of a mutual friend of ours whose son's having a kid up in Grapevine.
Oh,
Jody.
fun.
Jody.
McGowan?
Oh,
Mhm.
McGowan. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
I
no,
s-
haven't seen
I
anybody.
saw Laura at a trade show in Dallas. No, it was an apartment.
It's
Maybe
apartment
TAA.
association.
The
Mhm.
TAA. Yeah, I
Mhm.
saw you there. So, well, cool.
Mhm.
Lisa, you want to continue the questioning?
I do. I want to know, like, is there a really unique or special or funny memory that really stands out for you? And it can be with a classmate or a teacher or whatever. I'm just something that really jumps out at you that really kind of encapsulates your time in Plainview High School or in Plainview for that matter. I'm going to start with Scotty.
Oh, I knew you were going to do that because I can't think. Hmm.
Okay, let's go to Laura. No, I'm just kidding.
This didn't have anything to do with being in high school, but I remember our first reunion. It was me and Jerry Cargill. Harold, was it you? Who was it? We climbed the water tower after the
No,
reunion.
no, I wasn't
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
Connie's raising her hand, so she
It
was
was
there.
Shonnie. Yeah, I mean,
Johnny got licks for it.
10 years after graduation.
But I mean, I just remember it's kind of like that movie that Reese Witherspoon and what's his face is in, where there's, he's sitting up there watching her walk down the street. I mean, a small town, you
Right.
the water tower, and we sat up there and we had some beers, and then, I mean, it's just
I think
good,
it was just the
fun.
three of us.
Yeah, it was just good, honest fun.
Yeah.
Not doing anything destructive or anything, but you can't do that in every town. And I think
Right.
it was just kind of wholesome and just kind of Plainview. It just kind of fit,
Yeah.
It was that's a fun memory.
Good one.
Cool. Who?
Harold.
Yeah.
Harold
Y'all
said, I
pass and let me sit here and think about it a minute.
Okay, I'll pass. Shawnee.
I think we've covered me between SWATs and boat wrecks and sneaking out at night and climbing water towers. I'm great.
well, and drag racing. I mean, everybody drag raced out there by the Coke plant. And I mean,
driving, just even from Gibson's to the water park to Gibson's to the water park. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just.
and climbing between cars and the windows. Remember doing that when we were driving?
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh. I do remember that. Yeah.
And it wasn't a good memory, but we were in Gibson's and we had snuck out, and Edith comes flying into the parking lot in her Suburban, in her nightgown, basically, and wants me and Laura in the car. And we were like diving in the car, like, okay,
We
just
hitting the
go, get us,
floorboard.
get us
Mom
out
was
of
so
here.
mad. Mom was so mad. That was the night that we'd gone with Gay Hemphill. Remember? To that bar on the other side of town. And then we ended up back in the parking lot, and here comes Mother in the Suburban, and Shonnie and I are just ducking in the floor. Mom's so mad because she's driving through Gibson's and we're hiding because we're so embarrassed.
She's looking for us. I'm like, oh no.
Laura,
You
did
do
y'all
not want
go
to make
to,
Edith mad.
Did y'all go to Jean's Soul Village or the
Mhm.
Social and Charity Club?
The jeans.
No.
We were jeans. I think we're
Mm.
jeans
Were we?
mainly.
I
But we
was
saw, I
not.
mean, and we knew everybody in there. You know what I mean?
Well,
It was
you
so much
just
fun.
you just made me remember a thought from me and Alton Jackson and Lee Carter and all of us playing basketball in high school. So thank you, Laura, for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
Right back. In the meantime, Kim,
Something Carrie and I, my sister and I, we have this thing when we talk about pizza. I'm like, it was really good. There's a really great new pizza place. And she'll say to me, is it as good as Village Pizza?
Village pizza.
I'm like, no, it's not as
for
good as
sure.
Village Pizza. So that's our scale. Like, I'm like, it's better,
Mhm.
it's as good as Village Pizza. So that's like, I can still smell that. If I think about it, I can still smell those smells. And
It's like, was it really that good, or was it because it was a buffet and it was kind of the first time we'd had a
No.
buffet and we could go
in my mind,
You know what I
Laura,
mean?
it was really, really good.
I love their sub sandwiches. You know, they used to cut them in like 2-inch
Oh.
pieces, and we'd go in there. And they were on the buffet too, and I just love those. I thought those were great.
Well, I do love a buffet for sure.
Walt,
Oh, well, one of the funniest things I ever remember, and talking about good, clean fun, and also, it's the quiet ones that you got to worry about or got to watch. I'm not going to name the teacher because it was kind of an embarrassing moment for her, but we had a teacher that came in and set up an overhead projector at the beginning of the class, and so she like flipping that switch and looking back up at the screen, making sure it's all right. Goes back, sits at the the back of the class. And Charles Morgan, one of the nicest, quietest people, that you could ever know. He gets those long legs and he like leans down in his chair like this and he stretches his feet out and he starts turning that cart just ever so much. And he gets it all the way turned around so that now it's pointing at the back of the room. And so then, about halfway through class, the teacher comes up and she's like looking up like this, flipping. She's not seeing anything. And she does it 3 or 4 times. She walks all the way down to the library and gets the librarian to come back. And then the librarian comes back in and like turns the cart around and is like, whatever, and leaves. And of course, the lady's just scratching her head. The teacher just scratching her head. And we were just dying laughing. And it's such a simple thing, but it was just, and it was just one of those moments, and the time that we spent in school together just had all kinds of moments like that,
Well, you
It's
wouldn't
just
expect Charles to do stuff like something like that. You know what I
right.
mean?
That's
Right.
what,
He's
yeah,
just so
that's what
quiet and
that
innocent.
made it funnier,
Yeah.
Oh man. But
Well, Harold, you gonna tell us that story or?
Yeah, I'm going to tell it to you. I haven't thought about this in years.
What happened to
since
your
Laura-
lights?
I know
Yeah,
you're
we
in
can't,
Laura.
we
Harold,
need more
we
light here.
can't see you, Harold.
It's bedtime at the King's house.
Sherrie went to bed.
Terry went to bed, turned the
It's
lights out.
bedtime
Right. She's like,
everywhere.
I don't want to hear this story.
Oh yeah, Shonnie, it's past yours.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how to, but y'all can hear me, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were, I don't know, some of us were juniors, some of us were seniors, JV, varsity basketball in high school, Lee Carter, Alton Jackson. I don't know who all, I was in that deal, some of us other. We all got done playing basketball on a Friday night at Plainview High School. Y'all all remember my Green Grand Prix? We all crawled in my
Vaguely.
we all crawled in my Green Grand Prix and we went over to Jean's Soul Village across the tracks. We all walk in there in basically basketball garb from Plainview High School. So we get in there, we're sitting down, and I honestly think I was the only white guy in the whole building at the time. So we're all sitting there, it's all cool. We're sitting around doing whatever. And I don't know why they decided to do it, but there was 3 or 4 or 5 Hispanic people decided they wanted to come into the black bar. And it was all cool for a little while till everybody got to mouthing off and talking trash. And we're all kind of sitting over in a corner. And I think now if my mother had known I was in there at that time, she would have probably actually had a damn heart attack. Anyway, the Hispanics and the blacks got in an argument. And all of a sudden, the guns came out. And the next thing I know, me and Lee Carter and Alton Jackson are laying on the backside of the bar because we ran over there and jumped over it and slid up underneath it. And I'm laying there with this panic stricken look on my face. And I was like, okay, guys, how are we going to get out of here without getting shot? Lee Carter taps me on the shoulder or on the leg or wherever, because, dude, I was in panic mode. I was in survival mode at this point in time. He said, we're going right down this deal. We're going to go this way, and we're going to jump out the back window. We're going to find your car and drive off. Me and Alton and Lee basically crawled down this deal. I couldn't tell you what window we went out. We just kind of dove out the window. I had my car keys in my sweatpants. We crawled in my car, started it up, and we drove off. That is an absolute true story. And there's a wonder the three of us weren't dead, you know?
Wow.
Right.
Well, I was gonna
Wow.
say you should be safe because I remember Lee Carter was a big boy.
Man,
Yeah,
He was-
well,
he
Lee
was
Carter will
muscle.
have your back too.
Yeah.
That guy
Yeah.
always had your back.
Sweet guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
good.
the thing about it is there was a whole bunch of people in there, Walter, that were not the most savory people in the world.
No.
Yeah.
Well, did anyone get shot? Was it like in the
Dude, I
store?
really don't know. We left so fast. We
Mm.
were gone way before the cops ever showed up, Flo. And I went home that night and walked down in my basement and crawled in my bed. And I'm sitting there I'm not Catholic, but getting the head wallet watch thinking, dude, I'm just glad I don't have bullet holes in my butt from all of that. Yeah, that's one of the scarier moments I've ever seen in my life.
Oh,
And I won't
yeah.
talk
I
about
can
it
imagine,
more.
man.
Mm.
Yeah, I
I
was like,
can imagine.
yo, and you're the only white guy in a black bar and all that went on. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's, yeah. This
Nathan
is
said-
about the fourth time I've ever talked about it in my whole life. So there you go.
Man.
Sure that
And
was-
I assume you never went back.
Oh, hell no. The place doesn't even exist. I've driven by it a few times, but no, I've never darkened the door of that place after that moment.
Right.
Damn.
But yeah, when the
Okay.
bullets started flying, I was like, okay, this is not where I need to be. And up until that point, it was all pretty cool. You know, nobody was bothering anybody. And that whole commotion started. And we didn't have any part of it, but we got in the middle of it and we all survived.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, good for you, man. Good for you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, just wound up in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah. Let's talk about concerts, guys. I'm going to start with Kim. Concerts.
I have a good story,
There you go.
but it was from, I think Laura and I were at Tech, so it wasn't exactly in Plainview, but we almost got killed at the Rick Springfield concert. Do you remember?
Damn.
Oh my God. It must have been in the Coliseum, and
Had to
it was
be,
just,
yeah.
the whole thing was just the floor, so we had these ripped sweatshirts on and we were still pledges. We had our little pledge ribbons on. I remember we worked our way all the way to the front, and then we're just getting crushed. We're getting crushed by the thing, and we're begging the bouncers to take us out. And they're like, no, you idiots, worked all the way up here. You can just stay. People were fainting, passing out. And I mean, I wish it was somebody cooler than Rick Springfield, who I've seen since then too, but it was Rick Springfield. So yeah.
That was your first one?
Yes, I was lame. Lame. Yes.
My first one was Sonny and Cher with my mom
Oh, I love Sonny and
Aw.
Cher.
Oh,
That's
wow.
awesome.
in Lubbock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who opened up for her? The Osmonds?
Hell if I know. I don't remember.
Hey, don't be dissing on Donnie. I like him.
He's living it up in Vegas, isn't he? He's making it.
Mhm.
making the buck.
So tell us the experience with your mom.
Mom?
Yeah, the
Oh.
concert.
That was fun. I remember that, but the funnest one that I remember, Mother took us, Dad was down here doing some continuing education or something in Dallas, and Mom flew us down, and she'd gotten us tickets to the Michael Jackson 5 concert.
I remember that just like it was yesterday.
Yeah,
my
and that was,
goodness.
I remember we were sitting way high up, but we were so happy to be there. You know, it was just
Yeah.
really cool. Mom was cool like that, you know, she would do.
Edith was, yeah.
Until she found out you snuck out, right?
But she never did. We never got caught, thank goodness.
The
Not
one
like
time
that.
that she got us in Gibson's, I don't know how she knew we weren't.
Well,
We weren't supposed to be at Gibson's is what the
That
deal
was okay. That was it. We weren't supposed to be out at Gibson's. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
That was really the only time that we got caught.
What about you, Scotty?
Concert stories? Yeah, I didn't ever go when I was in high school. Oddly enough, my very first concert, and I don't even know who I went to it with, was Loverboy.
Oh, wow.
And then fast forward when I was attending West Texas State, I somehow we all lived in the same dorm or something, but I'd become friends with all the football players, which was hilarious because I'm the least athletic person in the world. And I think a big part of it was I had a car and a lot of them didn't, and I would let them borrow my car. And my parents, if they ever hear this, they'll probably be upset about that. But anyway, they were invited to come and be security guards at the Kiss concert in Amarillo, Texas. And Wendy O. Williams was opening for them.
Wow.
And Paul Bell was a big O football player and a really big guy. And he left me to go to the bathroom or something. And these people would circle the outside of the building trying to figure out which door they could breach. And, you know, I was 6 foot, like 170 pounds, little rail of a guy. And as soon as Paul disappeared, this whole huge crowd of people just started pulling on the door. And it was those doors, you know, that you push on the handle and it would open from the inside. And they just had this little wooden thing in there to keep the door from opening. It wasn't like officially locked, I guess, because of fire. And I got trampled by like 60 people.
Oh, geez.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And I was going to try to hold them back. And then finally I'm like, I'm going to die. And so I finally just like moved out of the way. And they went running over me. And then Paul Bell comes running around the corner. What did you do? Why did you let them in? You know, and all this. And of course, I'm like, sorry. And I'm almost trying not to laugh because it was just like a cartoon or something, you know. And anyway, but yeah.
I will chime in on the Paul Bell comment because he's from Hereford. And
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Mhm.
that's a big dude right there.
Yeah.
He's pretty stout.
Yeah.
You should have got on him for bailing on you, Scotty.
And you said it was West Texas, right?
Yes.
Wasn't Britt Mayberry there? He was playing football, wasn't he?
He was at New Mexico State.
Yeah, he went to.
Oh,
he
my
went
bad.
to-
That's right. That's right. My bad. Well, what about you, Mr. Taylor? What your first concert?
Well, like Scott,
Neil Diamond? Maybe Neil Diamond or something? No?
Man, I wish, but close. That's actually a good guess. Like Scott, I didn't go to concerts in high school either, and but at UT, I saw in the same year, span of the same year, I saw Barry Manilow. I saw Olivia Newton-John.
Oh, Lord.
Ooh.
I saw the Gatlin brothers,
Mhm.
and I saw Alabama.
Wow.
And
You
so that
partied
sort of-
your ass off, didn't you?
Well, that planted a little seed for later, you know, because at that time I really didn't do any popular music except, you know, singing in Red, White, and Blue Review or whatever for, you know, for Danny White. But years later, you know, when I started writing songs and fronting a country band, I sure remembered, you know, just the showmanship of all those people. And anyway, so yeah, I mean, those were my first 4 concerts.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me interrupt. My first one was Boston. Sammy Hagar opened.
Oh.
Yeah, Sammy Hagar opened up for him.
Oh wow.
So Sammy Hagar is my first performer. And I saw Loverboy in Amarillo. Well,
Mm.
this Friday, I'm going to Cynthia Woods Pavilion to watch Sammy Hagar, Michael Anthony, Jason Bonham, and Joe Santrioni. They're going to do a Van Halen tribute, and Loverboy is going to open up for them.
Wow.
Where are
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Where?
here in
The
Houston,
pavilion.
in the Woodlands.
Pavilion.
So
So,
you
wow.
just
yeah.
come full circle.
Yes, I did. Exactly. Full
So you're
circle.
close to the Woodlands, right?
40 minutes, 45.
Yeah. My dad lives there now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, cool. And then I saw Peter Frampton last year, and he was my second guy I've ever seen in concert. But so again,
I had,
Scotty,
a, I had
go
a
ahead.
horrible concert experience. I saw Quiet Riot in Lubbock.
Nice.
That's a little rebellious there, Lisa.
Yeah, there you go.
I hated it. So like 2 songs, I waited out in the lobby for the
Oh my gosh.
waited the
Wow.
whole concert out there. I'm like, I'm not doing this.
What song was it? Bang Your Head or Come Feel the Noise?
I don't know. And I stayed for that song, and then I waited outside.
Oh man.
You know, super straight laced. I saw Billy Idol in Lubbock too.
I'd have loved to see
Cool.
them.
I would have
Yeah.
And
loved.
I
Me
almost
too.
got killed at that concert too because people were pushing me and I couldn't breathe. And you know, I'm only
Mhm.
5'1", so I had my head up like this, screaming for help, and some big bodybuilding dude just hoists me up and people start passing me until I get out of the crowd. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna die at this concert.
You know.
Oh,
I couldn't breathe. My face was plastered next to, on somebody's back. It was scary.
It was scary.
Yeah,
sure.
it was super scary.
At least you were at Billy Idol, not Rick Springfield. I saw him. I saw him again in Naples, like with everybody's like 80, so. He still
Well,
looks,
There's a
I like Rick
He's still-
Springfield.
he still looks good though.
I
Still
like
looks
Rick
good.
Springfield.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yes.
there's I'm not gonna mention her name, but there's a younger classmate. She posted a video a few years ago at Rick Springfield concert, and he's walking by, and of course she smacks him right in the ass.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm like,
man.
damn.
Yeah.
That's
I-
cool.
And my friends would have done the same. Yeah.
Shonnie, talk to us.
I think it was my sophomore year, and I saw Foreigner with Jody and Tanya.
Ah.
Was it 404? I guess.
No.
Yep.
Or
That would have been
jukebox.
head games. 404 was our
Yes.
senior year.
Head games.
Okay.
Head
Yeah.
games.
Mm.
Look at the
Yeah.
counselor.
Yeah,
Super.
Warner was awesome.
Oh,
It was fun.
any
Great
story?
concert.
Any fun?
No, I was just so excited to get to go because I didn't think my mother would ever let me go to a concert, and so I was just super excited.
That was in
Wow.
Lubbock.
Lubbock, yeah.
My mother wouldn't let me go unless I went with her.
Mm.
Remember,
Good to see Sonny and
well,
Cher.
Laura, remember when everybody was going to the Saturday Night Fever movie, and our moms wouldn't let us see it, and we were so mad. Everybody was going to see Saturday Night Fever because it was so, and it was like, no, it's too risque. So we went and bought the book. We're gonna go home and read the book.
There was a book.
I didn't know there was a book.
It didn't do it justice, let me tell you that.
Well, and
Oh
then
my
the other thing
gosh.
was everybody was going to the oh gosh, it just lost my head. The Rocky Horror
What are
Picture
you
Show.
doing?
Well, the what's the plant? And the Rocky Horror
Oh.
Picture Show.
Oh yeah.
Everybody would go
Rocky
to
Horror.
Lubbock to go see that, and Mom wouldn't let me go do that either.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I, didn't do stuff, but I didn't do those two things.
The Rocky Horror Picture Show, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's a big thing in school for everybody to go to Lubbock to see that.
Yeah, that was mostly like midnight when they showed that.
Yeah, they would do it late, and I think that was probably the reason why.
Okay.
So
But you never snuck out and did that?
we never went to Lubbock. We never left town.
No.
No, we would stay within the within the city limit area.
In the
But-
vicinity.
Yeah, the vicinity.
Close enough that you could get home quickly.
And
We
sneak
just, hope
back
we
in.
would just always hope that we'd be daddy home before he went out, because he would leave like at 4 or 5 in the morning to go to the hospital, and we were just hoping and praying that we would get the car would be in the driveway before he left. The
Yeah.
funniest part was when we would do it when it would snow, because then you
Oh,
see the
yeah.
tracks. So, but we still.
Laura, I thought you were so straight laced in
I
school.
was. I was a good girl.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Well, let me read something here and see if anybody can remember this. Let's go. I can take the van SXP machine. Uh-huh. The one who's laughing is
yeah.
guilty.
Is that
Yeah.
Scotty?
Explain your
Yep.
senior comment, Scotty. What's
Yep.
SXP machine?
What was that group called? Was it the Sex Pistols or something? Charlotte Gregg, I think, came up with that. But when my little car wasn't working or something, I got to drive my mother's Ford club wagon. And that was actually a typo. It was supposed to say, let's go. And I was going to get it corrected. And everybody thought, oh, it's cool. Just leave it as let's go. And, yeah, somebody coined the van as like, Scotty can take the van. It's the sex machine is what it was. So, yeah. Yeah. So my
Okay.
mother's Ford club wagon. Yeah.
That's
Well,
funny.
something else, just thinking about that, you were talking about senior comments, if Kim and Shonnie can attest to this, our big panoramic senior class picture, you know, we all took the
Oh, I
big,
remember this.
huge, you know, the big one.
Yep.
And all of us, all the girls, we thought we were so cool. We got those shirts made that said GRH on the
Yes.
right on the
Yes.
shoulder right here. Do you remember they were like baseball tees. They had the colored
Uh-huh.
sleeves, and the
Blue,
white
light
bodies.
blue.
Yeah,
I
they were all
remember.
like, yeah, and we all wore them that day for that senior picture, and
Yeah.
it stood for Gonna Raise Hell. We thought we were so cool.
Yeah,
We
but
Good
were
job.
Rebellious.
That's very rebellious.
So rebellious.
And
Yeah.
all of us, I mean, and we're scattered all throughout that picture. I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah.
everybody. I mean, it was everybody, almost everybody you could think of had one on. It was funny.
Yeah.
But
Well-
isn't the reason that happened though, that when we were selecting our class motto, the one that won was gonna raise hell?
Yeah, and they didn't like it.
And the school said we couldn't do that.
Yeah,
Right?
they didn't like it. So
Mhm.
we
Yeah.
had shirts made that said GRH. I mean,
was
you know.
that
Yeah.
is that a Cheap Trick song?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But you
Does
also
anybody remember
wrote.
what our class motto actually was?
Yeah. I can look.
I don't
Uh,
remember. I don't remember what second place
something
was.
we're
What?
like to something.
I thought
I
it
don't know.
was the sixth thing. Best of times. Wasn't that when we were seniors?
I don't remember.
That would have been a good one.
Oh, yeah,
Seems
that was a-
familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. That was
Can't
the
remember.
stick song, Shonnie. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the song for sure. Yeah.
Well, you also wrote, Laura, not just GRH, you wrote ALM
Oh,
and
stop.
LKB
Stop.
forever.
Stop.
What does that mean?
We don't know what that means.
We don't know.
Uh-huh.
Is hiding
What?
Next question.
What?
Next question.
Is
Next
that
question. Pass.
Oh my God.
Or as your counsel, I advise you to take the fifth.
Thank you, Walter. I will pay you your, what do you call it, your retainer next week. Oh my gosh. Stop it, Michael.
I didn't know that
Well,
was
you
in there.
wrote it.
Well,
It's
I don't
not-
know why. I mean, at the
Well,
time,
'cause that at the time.
it seemed
Well,
like
what the hell is
It seemed like a good
ALM?
idea at the time.
it did seem like a good idea at the time. And it's not that it was a bad idea. It's just, it wasn't forever. So, you know.
But you did say forever.
I
Next
know,
question.
At the time, it seemed it was going to be, but it didn't end up being that.
So you're not gonna divulge what ALM and
Oh, everybody
LKB
knows.
stand for?
Everybody in the class knows, I'm sure, right?
Everybody
That's
knows
you.
except
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they all
Everybody
know.
know, but you, Flo.
Yeah.
Alan, Alan Monroe.
Oh, okay. Oh, my bad. Okay. My bad.
It's okay.
All right. And then we have a sweet one. Never forget the good times.
That's me.
That's
And
good.
it's and then she ended up, I love you, Tony.
Yeah.
Oh,
Aw.
Shonnie.
that's your younger sister, correct?
Yep.
She had a soft
That's
one.
cool.
Aw.
And of course, where's my car?
I know.
You know,
That's
you need
funny.
to wear that. You need to make a T-shirt for your 45th and
That's
wear
funny. I know.
Was it a
Or-
Buick or Oldsmobile? I can't remember.
No,
What'd you have?
it was a As one of my sorority sisters used to say, it was the light blue, dark blue, like some sort of cutlass or something. It was like
Okay.
it was like a Monte Carlo, maybe. It had like dark blue.
No, I had a Monte Carlo.
You had a Monte
Lauren had a
Carlo?
Monte Carlo.
Not,
Yeah.
well, after I graduated, I had a Camaro
Yeah.
in school.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you had a Camaro. No,
turquoise.
this car was, it was such a piece of shit, really.
I think it was a Buick Regal, if I remember right.
No, I got the Buick Regal when I was a senior. That was a
gonna say, I
brand new
remember that
car
Oh,
that I
okay.
totaled almost immediately after running into.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
okay.
I was
But,
jealous of all y'all. I had a 10-year-old Buick Electra 225 that all my friends
Yeah.
nicknamed the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Nice.
Oh,
Nickname what?
geez. That and
Edmund
that's
Fitzgerald.
and it sunk. That ship sunk
That's a
by
good name.
Gordon
It
Lightfoot.
did. Absolutely.
Mine wasn't new. It was just,
Yeah.
it was just turquoise.
No, mine was
Harold.
just
No,
the first
mine
one.
was poo-poo green. It was
Ah.
10-year-old Cutlass that was, and I knocked the motor out of it and almost killed me and Cynthia Parr.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Oh my.
No,
Wow.
that's not good.
Yeah.
Harold, didn't you drive an El Camino?
No. I drove a 1977 green Grand Prix with T-tops that leaked like a sieve. If it was raining, you couldn't tell whether you were inside.
T-tops leaked.
Oh,
Oh, the worst.
yeah. Well, well, we had the cheerleaders on your class, Mona and Lisa, of course, told the story about their little trip to Lubbock. How you had the how many, 6 cheerleaders in the 280ZX drinking malt duck all the way to the mall,
Ooh.
and her brand new 280ZX. And I think Lisa, continue.
Okay, was I in on this? Because I'm not remembering this. But
No. There's just the
No.
cheerleaders.
okay.
Was it
Cheerleaders.
your car, Lisa? Was it your car?
Mona had
No,
just
it's Mona's.
Mona,
Oh, Mona's car. Okay.
yeah, Mona got it her senior year. It was a brand new 280Z, and we
Nice.
got the harebrained idea to go to Lubbock and pile all 6 of us in this teeny car that really didn't have a back seat, and got a case of malt duck. And by the time we got to Lubbock, we were a little intoxicated.
Woo!
So we see at the mall is one of our teachers.
Oh, nice.
That was my first drinking experience because, I was the underclassman and I had to be cool. I didn't want to be the nerd in the car. So
Malt duck's the worst.
I was gonna say all my malt
I
duck
drank
stories
malt
end
duck.
really
Me
badly.
too. I loved it.
we all drank malt duck. That was the
Baby
only time I
Bulls.
drank in high school.
Baby Bulls or slow gin and Dr. Pepper. It's
Well,
straight up cough syrup. It's
Slow
cough.
gin and
You
Dr.
might as
Pepper.
well drink cough syrup.
Yes.
My
And
goodness.
Boone's Farm.
Ooh.
Oh my
Thank God, Snoop Dogg didn't sing that.
Oh man.
Jody, I
Oh,
mean, Shonnie and I we would go to Nazareth, come back having had some consumed, and then we would go to, y'all come back to the bar. We would sneak in the back door because Bobby owned the bar, and we would go in there, and we were like in high school.
Oh, wow.
We would hang out in the bar all night.
And we'd have to pee in a cornfield halfway between Nazareth and the way home. Awful things. Yeah. And we like taking Leslie Trevino's car was the best one to take to Nazareth because you knew they thought you had to be old enough to be buying if you had that car.
Mhm.
So,
What'd she
yeah.
have? Can't remember.
The
had the
Navy Trans Am. That Navy Trans
The
Am.
Trans Am.
Oh, wait. This is my story.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
cool.
To
Get in there,
this
Scotty.
day, that is my ultimate dream car.
It's gorgeous.
the
It's
ni-
gorgeous.
It was the 1979, I believe, anniversary edition, or was it the 1980?
Had that big
Anniversary edition, midnight blue, T-tops with the gold package.
Gold,
and I have
yeah.
searched the internet high and low, and you can't find one anywhere. And I was the privileged to ride with her to school a lot in that car. It was amazing.
Well, if you guys remember, I had a gold 79 Trans Am. I mean,
Woo!
brown. I had a brown with a
Yeah.
gold interior, and my parents bought that when I was a sophomore. So,
Wow.
yeah. And then my dumbass in my 20s traded it for a Toyota Tercel or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, that's my regret. If I go back in time, I would not trade that car because Jimmy Bodeker has his Z28 from high school that he bought brand new. He still has it. It's
Wow.
pretty sure
Ma-
it's worth
Michael,
what it is.
Michael, you need to be shot for trading that car off.
I know.
Yeah.
I shoot myself when I see pictures of old Trans Am. So, but yeah, and so when I was in my freshman year at Howard Junior College, I took some basketball players to a liquor store, and of course, there's really not much of a back seat, and there was a big hump for the axle. I had a 7-foot guy in the back, a 6'8", and a 6'10", and a 6'1" guard sitting on front. Of course, the guys in the back were cussing at the little 6'1". They're like, "Why in the hell are you sitting up there?" And we're, long legs are back here. So that was a fun trip to the liquor store.
If it just wasn't so far, the liquor store.
Well, this is the
It's
big
not
square, yeah.
anymore.
Oh,
No.
No,
no.
not anymore, but we didn't care then. It was
Yeah.
fun. That was
Right.
part of the, let's make
That
a
was
run.
part of that
Remember?
was part of the fun, I'm
We
sure.
didn't know any different.
Yeah, and I was like, are we gonna make a run?
Yeah.
That's what we'd say. Are we gonna make a run?
Oh,
here?
yeah.
We're gonna make a
Yeah.
Let's
run.
go to
Yeah.
Holy City. Let's go to Holy Land. North of here, about 12 miles, is Navasota. And when I first moved to Hempstead, my girlfriend, every time I reference Navasota, I say, I'm going to Nazareth. She says, okay, I'll see you in a couple of days. I'm like, oh, shit. I mean,
I meant Navasota.
Navasota. So, what else we have here, Lisa? Because we're going on close to, oh, shit, we're a little over.
For 2
close to-
hours, we probably,
Yeah.
we're old, I'm old, it's probably past my bedtime, so we probably should close very soon. So this is how we end our segment. Parting words. I'm going to start with you, Scotty, since you didn't answer the other question, so I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, everybody might need to grab a tissue, but I love Plainview, and I went through a horrible inferiority complex when I was in the 8th grade. And so coming to high school, and I had my neighbor, Patty Frisbee, who was a varsity cheerleader. Sorry, Kim. And she took me under her wing and guided me through. And I was like a really badass because I was the freshman kid. And I would go to lunch every day with the varsity cheerleaders, and Lori Heffelfinger and I would drive around in her Z28. So, and all the guys were like, how do you do all this? Now I know it's because I didn't want to sleep with any of them. But anyway, the other funny thing is that Radonna Dauberstein and I, we didn't understand, when we first got to high school and they voted for senior class favorites and, best all around and all that. And her and I jokingly said, we're going to run for that, like it was like, the class president or something,
Yeah, like you campaign.
And so, yeah, and exactly. And so like we would walk down the hall at first, hi, how are you? And it was a funny game with us. So anyway, to go from the 8th grade to a senior and being voted the senior class favorite, that was a quite an honorable thing to be recognized by all my peers after having started out in such a horrible time. And then at one point, my mother came to Amarillo and snatched me out of Amarillo by the head of my hair because I wasn't living right and doing the right things. And I had to move back to Plainview for 1 year. And I worked at KKYN as an advertising consultant. And I got to work with Maxine Howlett and doing her advertising, and Mrs. Adair at her, was it the Flower Nook?
Mhm.
What was the name of her florist? And I got to have that great experience. And then every time I visit Plainview, it just really warms my heart. And the last time we were back and got to hang out at Harold's house, and the city has grown, somewhat, even though the population hasn't. And the downtown is just rebuilt. It's like I could live there again. And I jokingly came back, but seriously came back. And my favorite house on 11th Street was for sale. And I'm like, I could move there again. I could live there again. And it's just a great, wholesome life. And to be able to sit here now with all of you and speak like this, and just like it's, even though we're the age we're at and time just hasn't passed, there's always been that heartstring loyalty and camaraderie between all of us. And, you know, I think that was instilled in us through the values of Plainview. So,
Well said. Well said. Laura?
Well, I think to this day, I don't think, I mean, anytime Plainview comes up, it just makes me smile. You know, it's just, even whenever you think about even just the different friends that we had and like talking like we've been tonight, it's just, I mean, it's just, it makes me happy. All the memories make me happy. And it makes me real sad that I haven't come back since Dad died. And that's been 2 years. So the fact that we don't even have a branch presence there anymore makes me sad. So, but I figure I could still come back and stay at Harold's house is what I
Maybe, Laura. Yeah, you're welcome any of y'all are welcome in our house anytime.
I will say one of the best things about the reunion, other than the party at Harold's along the same lines, is when we rented out the whole President's B&B down there by the park, and Shonnie and Scotty and me and Craig and Scott Assiter and
Robbie.
and who? Oh,
Robbie Wheeler.
Robbie
Wheeler.
Wheeler. We all
Mhm.
stayed. There was all of us. We took the whole thing, and it was just so much fun for all of us to
Yeah.
be there. You know, it was
That's
just,
where we stayed too.
it was.
Craig told me about it, and I booked the house immediately. And Lisa stayed with me, Andrew Dunlap, Gwyneth Dunlap, Sean Foley, and Scott Broussard. Even though Scott didn't graduate with us, but he's still with school with us. But we stayed at the president's house. It was beautiful.
Well, and the great thing about
Yeah.
it is it was just kind of a cross section of the class too that stayed there. It wasn't like that, other than me and Shonnie, and then I guess Scotty too. But you know, it's kind of like, you know, we were all friends with Robbie, and we were all friends with Craig, and we were all friends with Scott. You know, so it was just,
Yeah.
it was perfect. It was perfect. But yeah, no, it makes me happy to go back to Plainview.
Good.
But
Yeah. most definitely.
GRH,
Hey, next year they have an all school reunion.
I
Just
saw that.
FYI.
Oh, really?
I
Oh,
saw
wow.
that.
So,
Yeah.
well, Kim,
Parting words. I've been I've been gone from there a long time and not having any family still there. So it's been really odd to go back. You know, my parents moved after Carrie graduated, they moved to Lubbock and then San Antonio. Then they ended up here in St. Louis. So for a long time, there was no reason, you know, I didn't have any reason to go back there. We'd go back to Lubbock because I still have family there, but to be so far away. So this is actually amazing. So thank you to you and to Lisa for doing this, because it's really, I've watched some of them. It's just really, it's really great. And now that we have this technology and we can do this. But at times are special, and I'm not sure that everybody, you know, growing up in a big city in a big high school has what we had, because it really was, when people love Friday Night Lights, I'm like, that was our life. Like that literally is
Right.
what we lived. Like we all went on a Friday night, like we left the town and then we came back, you know. It was all those things. And it was, you know, my best friend was Stacy Gabriel, who sadly is no longer with us. And there were 4 of us: Stacy, Connie, Tanya, and me. And we were like, just, you know, those are the kind of friendships that are hard to find again, you know, that are hard to, and you go through different phases and you do different things, but yeah, it's a special place. It's interesting. It's you know, I think Plainview, when you look at it, there were a lot of there were some issues there, you know, that you know, but it's just such a fascinating, being so far away from it for so long. When you look back, you're like, it was really cool. You know, we did the urban cowboy thing. Like we lived that, you know, it was, yeah, it was really cool. It was cool. And I'm so happy to see all of you. Really.
it's a
been
time
great.
capsule.
Thanks.
nice.
Yeah.
Well, Counselor, Mr. Taylor.
Oh man, just looking at your faces, you know, brings back so many memories. It really was a special time, you know, and for me personally, I always had felt sort of apart from and not a part of in part because, like I said, when I started school in Austin, I was the only kid who'd lived in Europe. And then, but I went from this kid who lived in the country in 7th grade and rode a bus with a bunch of kids who'd already done 2 hours worth of work before they got on the bus with me. And they sort of adopted me as their mascot because I carried a satchel that year. And Charlotte Herring reminded me of this at the last reunion, and I'd forgotten all about it. And man, it's like they just adopted me. I became the mascot, of that bus. And then the next year, I wasn't kidding about Lee Carter. I mean, the only reason I didn't get killed in the 8th grade was Lee Carter, Junebug Washington, Craig Williams, and Robert Jones. I mean, those guys had my back around every corner because I had a mouth on me, but I couldn't do much. So they protected me and were good friends for me. And so I felt like by the time finally hit high school, I just felt like I fit in, like I could be myself. And between music and academics and other stuff, it just really shaped who I was. And I didn't realize, going back to Lisa's question at the very beginning, I didn't realize how much it shaped me until I wound up at the University of Texas, at in a college that has a population of 50,000 people. And, all the kids are talking about what they did for their prom. Oh, we rented a suite at the Lowe's Anatole, and Jimmy's daddy rented a limo. What'd you do for your prom, Walter? I was like, well, the juniors made the inside of the cafeteria look like a castle. And, and then we hung out in the cornfield, and they were just kind of like, what? And, but no, seriously, I represent a lot of working people, just salt of the earth working people. And one of the reasons that I can relate to them is because of all of the people that we know, just names we could say over and over, that we would see them at school, and then we would go to the field house and we would see them behind the counter, or we'd see them at school and then we'd go, get milk at a little store, and they, same thing. And just, learn the value of hard work, the value of community, and just standing up for the people that you love, and I know that I know that it wasn't perfect, that it wasn't a perfect existence, but during that time frame, where was it perfect,
It
and there was
seemed it
something.
though.
What?
It seemed it though.
Yes,
Living it,
absolutely. Oh no. Among the fondest memories of my life, and just like Scott said earlier, it's every time that I see y'all, it's like it was all yesterday. No time has passed. So it's just great to see you.
Cool. Good. What about you, Harold?
All right. Well, y'all all kind of knew me. I played baseball and football and stuff with you, Flo, and all that. And I don't know whether I was really shy or whatever growing up, kind of maybe probably just quiet, growing up. Sherrie doesn't believe that, seeing me now. But, I wound up as a county commissioner, and I kind of had all these thoughts in my head growing up of how Plainview should be. But backtracking a little bit, I have 2 older sisters. One's 6 years older and one's 2 years older. And of all of the 3 kids that grew up in this town, or the 3 of us, I was the only one that said when I graduated from high school, I was never coming back to Plainview. Laura knows them. Connie and Karen moved off and never came back. And I am the whatever prodigal son of Joe King, who stayed here and mouthed off one day. I think, Laura, your dad was in the 19th hole. I said, well, at some point I want to run for county commissioner. Well, in a few years, that's how I wound up here, because I always believed that this town got left behind in certain instances of where we should have been building when we were kids growing up. And I got elected to that county commissioner's court, and we have worked diligently And we've got some businesses coming in. It's a slow process. Walter can tell you, when you get in that deal, it's not a sprint, it's a long distance run. And we're behind the 8 ball. And I'm still here. Sherry's on the Chamber of Commerce doing whatever, and we're still working, doing things. But I love this community. And like I said, I thought I was the only King kid that was never going to be here again. And I'm still here fighting for everything that I believe in Plainview from years ago. I love it. And we're going to be here till we die. So there you go.
Bravo, bravo.
Awesome.
Yes, Shonnie.
Well, I guess my parting words would just be, we're just all very blessed to have the memories and the fun times and everything that we had, good or bad. But as we're all reaching retirement age, I think it's very important to create a bucket list and strive to continue to be happy and spend time with family and spend time with friends. And I just hope the best for all of you.
Awesome.
That's all I got.
Well, before we get with Lisa's parting words, I just want to mention that future shows, Harold and Kevin Moisley and Luthez and Hollis, we're trying to work a 82 football show. Hopefully that'll be coming late year or first of the year. And I've talked to Walt about attorneys, which like Pete Carroll, the Higdons. So we're trying to
Scott
get
Sherwood.
that going. Yeah. Scott, I didn't know he was. Okay.
Yeah, Scott Sherwood. He's up in Panhandle now. He's a
Oh.
really great mediator.
And then, sorry, I forgot her name. She's younger than you guys.
Melissa Dorman.
Melissa Dorman, yeah. So
and she's
that
in
will be a
Dallas.
fun, probably boring stick in the mud show. Just kidding. Just kidding.
No
And
offense.
then
I'm taking it. You
Sherry's,
can't fit me, I'm a lawyer.
yeah, Harold's wife, Sherry's going to be on with her fun bunch, a dancing group out of Plainview, who they have a lot of fun. And of course, the last one is Rampage. Do you guys remember Rampage?
No.
Wow.
No.
You don't remember Rampage? Scott James,
Yeah.
Luthez
the band.
Thompson, John Wright, and Kevin Box.
Oh
The
my
band.
gosh.
The band.
Oh,
Yeah.
my.
I'm working with them.
Yeah.
So that will be a lot of fun.
You got to
So,
get the system also.
I'm trying. I
spelled
tried.
with
I
an
reached
A
out to
instead of
them.
an E.
Yeah, I reached out to them. So hopefully when they see
Okay.
Rampage,
Who
they'll
is that?
Lex. That's
Who's the
Andy,
system?
Andy Barry, Ted
Oh.
Paul,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
McDonald, the
Mark.
drummer,
David McDonald.
David McDonald.
Yeah.
and Mark.
Mark
Mark
Lanston.
Lanston. Mark
Yes.
Lanston. Yeah.
Langston. Yeah.
Hopefully that when they see the Rampage, they're like, you know what, those guys can do it. We need to do it. So,
Yep.
but anyway, guys,
And we should,
I'm gonna turn
and
this
Michael,
over.
we
Yes.
should do an a cappella choir. We should
Hey,
try to
give
some
me
of
the
acapella choir
names.
people.
Give me the
I'll
names.
do my best.
Because I want to get the Kim watching him make senior fucking cheerleader anyway.
You know what? Between that and Shawnee's licks, I think.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right.
That's
Wait, was
15.
that all in
Right.
1 year, Shonnie, or was that your career of 27?
No, that was my senior year. I probably didn't have 5 the first 3 years. I just could not stay in school. It was awful.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna put a little note back there for every time we have a show. Is it 27? The number. I'm gonna try to find more. That one person is gonna beat
Yeah.
you.
It should say,
All right, let's turn this
who
over.
can
Okay.
beat? Who can
Yeah.
beat?
Yeah,
27?
exactly. Lisa,
Well,
let's have our parting words and let's call it a night.
yeah. So again, thank y'all for coming. And it's just been so heartwarming hearing your stories and really to be a witness to your camaraderie and your friendship together. But Kim, you said something that really stood out to me. When I was listening to y'all when you were saying about your parting words, I think that the friendships that we developed and that you developed and are foundational friendships. Like they really taught that's why they were so impactful, and I think it really is because we were in the school system where we were in all one grade together.
Yeah.
And I think that we are all
Right.
really fortunate. And that's a very unique circumstance in our growing up years to have had that experience that created these really deep bonds. And like I said, these foundational friendships. that impacted you, I think, far greater than if we had all come into high school from these dispersed schools. And, you know, we get to be a witness to this tonight as y'all share your stories. And it's very evident how close y'all were, you know, and we got to witness it when we were in high school, looking up to you guys. And thank you again for coming on. It was just really delightful to see you, to hear your stories, and to hear your banter with each other. It's been so much
Yeah.
fun.
You guys are welcome back anytime. So I mean, with different people or same group, we don't care. Lisa and I are hoping to do this for a very long time. You know, as long as people want to continue to share the story. So thank you guys.
Oh,
Class
thank
of
you all. It's a
82.
great podcast.
Yeah.
Wonderful memories.
Thanks
Thank
for having us, Michael.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you guys.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
Thank you.
All
Thank
my
you.
best.
Good
I'm
night,
gonna say
everyone.
thank you.
Yeah.
Love all of you.
Ain't
And I hope
written,
y'all,
enough said.
Love
sorry.
you.
love
What
all
happened?
y'all. Be safe and have a good evening and the rest of the week.
Shonnie,
Yes.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, I'm jealous. Jelly.
I'm jealous. Yeah.
I know, right?
night, everyone. Thank
Good
you.
night,
Bye, y'all.
everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
That was a fun, tight group.
Oh my
That
God.
was fun, tight group. I mean, it really was. And you know,
Telling
yeah,
stories.
yeah, they came up with a lot of organic stories, which we push, you know, is like, you know, here's our stories, but we want those organic stories and we got it from them. Yeah, good for them. Good
Yeah,
for them, that long friendship.
really, really. I know it was. It was just really fun to, like I said, to witness their friendship. Like time
Absolutely.
passed. Like they seem as close today as they were when we were in high school. It was super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
going to
it's
bed.
late. I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, it's late. Good night, everyone. And our next show is we're gonna have Mr. Danny Andrews next week, and we're gonna discuss the Hall of Honor. Just find out how it started and you know, just different things about it. We're gonna learn more about the honor. So we'll welcome Mr. Andrews back.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show.
All
Sorry,
right. Good
I'm
night.
stifling a yawn. I'm stifling.
I know. Well, good night.
Good night.